Well, quite frankly, if that happens, that makes life a lot easier for the Maple Leaf scouting staff and for everybody. It makes the team better. I have circled Tyler Bertuzzi and Max Domi just because, Max Domi's starting to show something. I need more out of Tyler Bertuzzi for sure. Need better 5-on-5 play and some goals. And both these guys have the ability to add totals. So we need to see that start developing right now. How about yourself? Do you agree with that?
I 100% agree with that. I think that's a very astute observation by you, Jimmy. No wonder. You've been in the game a long time. You've seen a lot of good and bad players come and go. The thing that stands out about Max Domi, and this kind of goes back to the Tampa Bay game where we saw him get the 2 assists. And so I was a defenseman. And when things weren't going well for me, my coach or whoever's involved would say, let the game come to you. Okay, let the game unfold in front of you. Take what the game gives you. When you're a forward, the messaging is a little different. The messaging is you got to attack the game. You need to go out there and take it and attack it. The first time I saw that out of Max Domi this year was in Tampa Bay. Didn't see it as much in Washington. I don't think it was particularly a great game for a lot of players in the Leafs lineup in Washington, but it was enough to get the win for sure. I want to see that tonight. He's going back to his old team in Dallas, familiar building, all that kind of stuff. I want to see him attack the game the same way he did against Tampa Bay. And it's a narrative, but what I mean by that is anytime there was a loose puck, anytime there was an opportunity to pickpocket someone and get the puck and make a play or a lane to the net, you just saw him take full advantage of that. I want to see that again tonight. And for Tyler Bertuzzi, we know he's been battling something. He was maintenance day at practice, weren't sure if he was going to play one game, all that kind of stuff. Like, I've seen spurts from Bertuzzi where I'm like, that's what he brings to the lineup, and I can appreciate that. You just want to see a little bit more of that. You want to see, like, ideally for me, Bertuzzi fits like a glove right on that first line with Matthews and Marner. He's got a little tenacity. He's got some jam to his game, but he can make some plays. Like that's the thing that needs to help those guys along. And putting him with Tavares and Nylander, those are guys that are going to have the puck a lot. They're going to be able to make plays with Bertuzzi, hopefully get him involved in the game a little bit more than he has been for sure. So it's a great opportunity for Liljegren, and like you point out, Jimmy, it's a great opportunity for Domi and Bertuzzi to have a big night as well.
Yeah, and just briefly here, just a quick thought. I like Domi to up his game because that third line is kind of vital. If the Leafs are trailing, the fourth line is not going to see much ice. So it's really up to that third line to develop.
It's important for the third line to develop because you want to have a viable third line, but you also want to have a viable Matthew Knies, and you want to have a young player who's playing meaningful minutes, who has the puck in meaningful moments of the game, and get the best out of him. We know David Kampf is not the most playmaking-centric of players, but if Max Domi can provide that on that line, him and Knies had a good thing going in Tampa Bay. Hopefully we can see a little more out of that third line again.
We'll set up the opening faceoff next. This is Wilson Canadian Leafs Hockey.
This is from Canadian Blood Services. Our national blood supply is at very low levels. Hospitals are conserving the use of certain blood types, but patient needs are outpacing donations. We need your help now to avoid negative impacts to patient care. If you are able, please donate blood today by booking an appointment at blood.ca or use the Give Blood app. You can make all the difference.
Do more in a reliable Subaru, they said. Enjoy more time together to go more places with symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive, they said. More award-winning safety for more peace of mind, but to listen to one song over and over again with fantastic acoustics. I love you, family, but the singing, nobody warned me about the singing.
Hurry to your local Subaru dealer and get more out of every kilometer this fall, including more karaoke.
When my knees were hurting, I was that guy who told everyone about it. I talked to my colleagues. Hi, everyone. My knees hurt. To my dog. My knees hurt. But really, I should have been talking to my doctor about Cingal, the only treatment that combines fast-acting and long-lasting relief from osteoarthritis knee pain in a single injection. To find a clinic, visit cingal.ca. CINGAL.ca. Stop going on about your knee pain. Instead, talk to your doctor about Cingal. Cingal may not be appropriate for everyone. If you have questions about this product, talk to your doctor.
Concerned about the taste and odor of your home's water? Have confidence drinking purified water from Reliance Home Comfort. With over 100,000 five-star online user reviews nationally, trust us to purify your water. Our dedicated experts will assess your needs and recommend the best filtration system for you. For about $1 per day, enjoy purer and better tasting water for all your drinking and cooking needs. So if you're concerned with your home's water, call on Reliance. Conditions apply. See website for details.
The Leafs starting to enjoy life on the road. They're 2-1 so far with 2 to go. Tonight in Dallas, they face a team enjoying early season success. The Stars are 4-0-1. Joseph Woll gets the start between the pipes again, so he gets the focus. Will the young Leaf goalie be a problem for the Stars? Well, let's find out. Molson Canadian Leafs hockey starts now.
It's time for Molson Canadian Leafs hockey on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network. The Leafs live here.
Welcome to Molson Canadian Leafs hockey. Jim Taddy and Frank Corrado reporting tonight in the play-by-play seat. Todd Crocker is Joe Bone is honored by the Ontario Sports Hall of Fame, and alongside, of course, Mr. Crocker is Jimmy Ralph. Before we get going, the starting lineup is brought to you by Molson. Whether it's Canadian Ultra, Export, or Excel, there is a Molson with your name on it. And Frankie C. here are the lines. Matthews between Marner and Yarncroke. Tavares centering Nylander and Bertuzzi. Camp centering Domi and Nyes. And Holmberg centering Reeves and Gregor. The blue line pairings, Riley, Brody, McCabe, Liljegren, Gio, and Klingberg, and Woll starts in goal. Your thoughts on all of that?
Well, the big story is Joseph Woll. This was a scheduled start for Ilya Samsonov, so the Leafs have deviated from their plan coming into this road trip, and that speaks volumes to the performances that Joseph Woll has had this season. Whether he's come in relief or he's started games, he's played great, and in fact, he's obviously caught the coach's eye. I'm sure he's got players on the team's eye, and everyone knows that this is the goaltender right now that gives this team a chance to win games, so it speaks volumes for him that he's getting a start that he wasn't normally scheduled to get. Looking up front, Jimmy, John Tavares and William Nylander have been outstanding this season. Willie leads the team with 10 points. He's got 5 goals, 5 assists. John Tavares has been right there with him with 10 points. The thing that really impresses me about Tavares, we just talked about it, 3 goals on the year for him. He had a beautiful one against Washington, but the previous 2 were off the rush. So it's not just the old bread and butter power play points for John Tavares. He's getting it done at 5-on-5 and getting rewarded. Austin Matthews gets off the schneid with a goal last game. Beautiful power play goal. The power play's been red hot. This is the lineup that if I was constructing things for this night, this is the lineup I'd be going with. We want to see a little bit more out of that third line. We saw signs of life in the Tampa Bay game. The Washington game was a little quieter. Hopefully they can find that form. And going back to the back end, Timothy Liljegren on the second pair with Jake McCabe, it is vital that he continues to take the next step on his progression or his journey to being a legitimate top 4 defenseman. We know that John Klingberg can't play higher in the lineup. He needs to have those sheltered minutes. There's no falling back for Timothy Liljegren. He is the guy that needs to play in the top 4. Klingberg playing on the third pair. And, Jimmy, I will add, if Klingberg does well with sheltered minutes with Mark Giordano, there's nothing wrong with that. You got a guy like John Klingberg to play on the power play, give you a little bit of offense, and in fact, giving him the sheltered minutes might help him find that offense at 5-on-5. So I have no issues with that. And scratched again is Fraser Minton, which is not a surprise, Jimmy. I think we all kind of see where this is going. At some point, Fraser Minton likely heading back to Kamloops.
So Dallas does not have a regulation loss, and here's Austin Matthews on what Dallas presents.
Yeah, I mean, they're just a really solid team all throughout, and they've obviously been playing some really good hockey. They don't make it easy on you, so it'll be another really good test and challenge for us tonight.
I was doing the Pat McAfee show, and where do you think hockey sits in terms of how much it's getting promoted in the States?
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, obviously, I'm a football fan, so I like to watch, and so it was cool to be on it. And, I think there's obviously you can see it trying, the NHL, ESPN, everybody trying to kind of, promote the game, grow the game, and reach out to, I guess just different levels of, just spreading the game all around. So, I think that part's important for us and for the NHL just to continue to evolve and grow in that regard.
You're starting Wedgwood rather than Ottinger. Does that get on your radar? Do you spend much time thinking about who you're facing in the other net heading into a game?
A little bit, but I think you just look at their team as a whole and the way that they've been playing. I don't think it really matters who's in net for them. They play the same way every night. They play hard and they make it difficult on the opposing team. So, regardless of who's in net, it'll be a good challenge for us. But obviously, they make it tough to get into scoring zones and create opportunities offensively. And so we'll just have to be ready for that to try to break them down.
How have you felt about the line 5-on-5 in terms of trying to generate offense?
I think, it's still a bit, feels a little bit disconnected at times, but I think there's also some really good moments that we've had. But I think just wanting to have more overall consistency at 5-on-5 is important, and we're just going to continue to work and continue to try to bring that. So lots of good. Some obviously stuff you'd like to clean up and be better at, but I think we'd just like to continue to progress.
What stood out most to you about Ottinger and your time with him?
I was around him for 1 year, but him and Wooler I've gotten to know, and different personalities, but both extremely focused and have such a just calm, cool demeanor in the net. Nothing really seems to rattle them, and he's obviously found a really good place here and has been playing really well for them, and he's a great goalie. He's a really good guy too. So it's been fun to see his success, and
Have you felt at the dot this year the numbers are a bit down? Is that an early season kind of thing, or how are you feeling on faceoffs?
Yeah, a little bit. I think just timing and stuff like that. I'd obviously like to be a little bit better in there, and so we can start with the puck, especially offensive zone starts and stuff like that. But I think it's mostly just timing.
Awesome.
Austin Matthews, Frankie C., let me flip something around. We're talking about the young Leaf goalie and how vital he is, and he is. But the fact of the matter is this team is not starting the games the right way. They're sort of finding their way as the game goes on, but they're not starting right.
Yeah, Joseph Woll hasn't really been eased into any of the games. You go back to the game in Washington, I can see it in my head, Alex Ovechkin just teeing off on one-timers on the half wall early on in that game. And, Sheldon Keefe puts a challenge out there on what we thought was a goal, but it was goaltender interference. And, that goal gets rescinded. But that really helped the team kind of settle in. But the goaltender made a number of saves before that. Quickly, Jimmy, before we go, this Dallas team has a reputation of being a very strong defensive team. They've had Jake Ottinger in net. He's played outstanding. You look at Dallas this season, they're 26th in the NHL at allowing shots, 24th at allowing rush chances. So there's going to be plenty of opportunities for the Leaf offense to get going. Maybe that helps alleviate some of the pressure that they may face defensively.
Well, we're going to find out. The opening face-off is next. Todd Crocker in the booth tonight alongside Jimmy Ralph. This is Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050, the iHeartRadio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
Let's go, football fans. This week on Let's Go with Tom Brady and Larry Fitzgerald and me, Jim Gray.
When I look at my career, I was able to do it every single year. Now, every game wasn't perfect, but every game was pretty good. I believe that if someone does make it as long as I made it with the degree of success, then I give them a lot of respect. It would be an unbelievable accomplishment.
Listen to Let's Go Monday night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern on NFL Radio Channel 88 and the Sirius XM app. Let's go, baby.
Let's go. In case you missed it on NHL Network Radio.
The general manager of the Philadelphia Flyers, Danny Briere.
Have the fans been patient? What's their buy-in been for the rebuild?
I think the one thing we've done is we're trying to be transparent with our fans and be honest. And I think our fans are too smart. The response seems to have been really good. I hope they're as excited as I am, and it feels that way so far.
NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
Sabres signed Rasmus Dahlin to an 8-year, that's the max, $11 million contract. This contract is more than Fox and Makar and McAvoy and Heiskanen and Hughes and Werenski. Are you telling me we couldn't have got this deal done for at least 10? Now, I like the guy, but he's not most of the guys that I just mentioned.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. Under review.
It's the argument I hear a lot of times. Well, those guys got better players around them. Gretzky was good, but he wasn't that good. Had all these good players around him. Wait a minute. I don't buy that argument as a dismissal of a guy's importance, because he's part of that dynamic. He's part of that equation. And to take him out invalidates the entire equation.
Under review with Mick Kerr. Weekdays, 11 a.m. Eastern. NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. NHL Morning Skate.
Hall of Fame defenseman Chris Pronger.
You look at rest and recovery now, that whole mindset has shifted tremendously from when I first came to the league in 93. So, there's a lot of pros and cons to everything. But overall, when you look at the skill level of the player and the speed of the game, it's certainly gone to another level.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick. Weekdays, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
If you're a soccer fan, you know that this music means one thing. The Champions League is on Sirius XM FC.
Hat-trick for Erling Haaland. Kane scores!
The top teams from around Europe are battling for club soccer's holy grail.
Real Madrid do what they do best. What a start for Inter!
Hear all the top Champions League matches all tournament long on Sirius XM FC 157 and streaming on the Sirius XM app.
The Point.
I truly believe in 3 years, Jack Hughes will be worth $15 million a year. For $15 million a year, they got Hughes and Hischier locked up together. Those are two brilliant contracts. But there isn't a single area where I look at the Devils and think, okay, this is of concern to me. They're locked and loaded.
The Point with Boomer Gordon. Weekdays, 1 p.m. Eastern. NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
Join me, Scott Laughlin, and Gord Stellick, along with former NHLer Mike Johnson for NHL Morning Skate. Weekday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
Well, put your trade tables in the upright and locked position. We've got some Leafs hockey coming up. They're just going through a ceremony right now. Joe Pavelski with 1,000 games. I'm Todd Crocker, along with Jim Ralph. Joe Bowen being feted, I suppose, with the Ontario Sports Hall of Fame, and we congratulate Joe for that.
And receiving the Brian Williams Award. And what's great about it is Brian presents it, which is a nice thing. So Joe's been talking to Brian Williams about this night, and certainly congratulations, Joey. As I said in our last broadcast, the one thing I will refuse to do is if he ever is knighted, I will not call him Sir.
Sir Joe.
Sir Donald Joseph Bowen. But anyway, Joey, enjoy the night. I know you're not listening,
But if you go back and listen to the recorded version of this,
we'll post it.
2 o'clock in the morning, you'll know that we definitely thought a lot of you to say something.
Yeah,
that is
and Joe Pavelski hit the 1,000-point mark late last season, has 6 points already for the Dallas Stars this season, 39 years old. But 1,255 career games, but the 1,000-point milestone was acknowledged before this game tonight. And he's going up against the old guy, Mark Giordano, who's a year older at the ripe old age of 40.
Well, this face-off is brought to you by Alpine Credits. Do you own your home? Need a loan? Alpine Credits can help. Get approval at alpinecredits.ca. And we are underway in Dallas, and a halting start, to say the very least.
Now, little disappointing that Jake Ottinger doesn't get the start and goal for the Dallas Stars. He and Joseph Wall played together in the under-17 and under-18 program in the United States, and were good friends. And Joe Wall did make reference that they might be grabbing dinner last night when the Leafs got into Dallas. But would have been nice to see them go head-to-head at the NHL level.
Yeah, and I think anytime you can face a friend, there's a little bit of extra juice on the line for you. And right away, the Leafs would have a step there with the young goaltender, as Ottinger has been in the league just a touch longer. And it is over and across the line, but not controlled by the Leafs as they have it bounce back into their own zone. Little extra help here as John Tavares comes to it. Eases it up the wall. Cannot quite get it outside the zone, but a little extra effort and some defensive help. Able to move it as Liljegren comes back through the middle. Whips it into the zone. Marner investigates, but it comes back out into center. Leafs still control below their own blue line, and now back out and all the way down the ice. A bit of a foot race to it. Turning on the backhand. Järnkrok looking for some options. He finds Matthews behind the goal, but it hops over his stick over to the far side. Back into the far corner again. Matthews near side, up along the boards, trying to force it back up to the blue line. This one comes in towards Järnkrok out front for Marner, but he's unable to control it. Off into the corner. The referee mixed up in the mess as well. Back up to the blue line. Klingberg looked to shoot and then decided to pull back on it at the line. Just barely stays in. And now off the wall on the backhand, sent into the far corner. Picked up there. Matthew Knies digging into his first season in the National League. Lifted in as the Leafs make a couple of changes. Max Domi chasing it. Knies as well over on the far side. Everybody getting the early touch here as it comes back into the Leaf zone. Reaching for it was Riley as he pushed it up on the backhand. Along the near side boards. Picked off by the Stars. Trying to get to this one. Back into the Leaf zone it goes. Doing a pretty good job of controlling the pace of play in the puck in the early going here on the road. They've had some success on the road, that is for sure. And I think after that game in Florida, there were some folks who were ready to pull the early shoot.
Yeah, and you know what? You could probably say that for the last 2 years coming to this one. The Leafs have been a .500 team in October the last couple of years before finding their game. And I think, especially when you factor in, you win the first game of the year in a shootout against the Montreal Canadiens, and you're thinking, okay, is this the same old where they're going to struggle against teams below them?
Little drive to the goal was cut down by the traffic out front. Comes all the way back. Onto the stick of Mason Marchment, who plays it off the glass. I haven't said that name in a while.
Second year now with the Dallas Stars, the former Leafs draft pick.
Got the last goal in the Calder Cup. The year the Marlies won it in 2018. I was trying to let the fans take it home. I quieted down and said, well, let's just let the fans do it. And then he decided he needed to enter into the conversation. That's all right. He was a boisterous player. And it comes back through the middle, trying to find an entry point as it rolls past Nylander. Picked off and back out. Duchesne moving the puck as it comes back across the line. Lost in the feet. Centered back out. A tip away there. And Bertuzzi was able to get it back out. Lifted into the Leaf zone again. Joseph Woll elects to play it on the backhand. Kept in at the blue line, but then cut off and back the other way. Tavares through the middle. Steps across the line. Drops it back for Nylander. He's got it on his backhand. Throws it in towards Tavares, who was on the doorstep. It goes off his stick and back down the ice it rolls. They play it back into the Dallas zone. Stepping out. Hakanpää gets it down low, and from behind the goal, a little backhand goes off the feet of Austin Matthews as it's lifted off the glass and out. Some speed to it. Järnkrok, the shot right on, and that is cut down by the goaltender. A little backhand. Over to Liljegren. In toward the front of the goal, but it is cleared back out, and a couple of changes behind the play. Matthews able to steal that puck away and turn it around for the Leafs. Sitting on it, Giordano as he walks it back up to his own blue line and out down the right side. Marner, long one, goes wide of the mark, intended for a little bit of help there from Knies. He and Kampf out. And he tried to lift it back to the blue line, but it got by everybody, and back down the ice it'll roll. Near side. Domi lifts it back out of the Leafs zone. And Leafs doing a pretty good job so far of making sure the puck doesn't spend too much time in their own end. But here it comes again as they lift it off the wall, but the Leafs get a hold of it and play it right back out.
Very different from the game the Leafs started in Washington, where they took a penalty early in the game and were being outshot 6-0 about 4 minutes in.
Well, you're talking about Jim and Frankie were talking about that in the pregame with the quick start, and the starts have not been terrific, but looking good so far, but that one looked destined and misses the mark.
Well, I don't know if Joseph Wall gets a piece of this or not, but TJ Brody had the puck stripped off his stick on the left wing boards, and it was funneled out across the top of the slot. And Wall had to go quickly left to his right. No, I think this just missed the net, but Wall was there and in position. Talking to Darryl Ray, who does a great job doing color for the Dallas Stars game, saying that the Stars for the Dallas Stars, despite their record, have been a concern, where they've been a slow starting team. And he also went on to mention that their goaltender is probably the biggest reason they're 4-0-1 coming into this one.
They can't ask for a much better start than that, as Reeves digs it out from behind the goal. It comes off into the corner. A little throw towards the goal, easily handled. Right back up. Holmberg trying to chase it down, but it comes back into the hands of the Stars, and now back across the line. It almost looked like a penalty was beginning to form there on the Leafs, but no call.
That was Holmberg got that back in the back check to disrupt that play.
That pass doesn't get through. Eskinen was intent at the blue line, but it comes right back out. They'll try to reel it in again one more time. Here's Eskinen with it as he sends it backhand and in. Dadonov goes after it. Will scoop at the line, and they send it back down deep again. A couple of quick steps to it. Picked off by Riley as he gets it back out into center, and the Stars will just re-deliver it back into the Leaf zone. Right back up as Bertuzzi lays it along for Tavares, but well, looked like that one was going out of play, but it stays inside the ballpark. Nylander tries to seal it off along the wall, gets the job done, throws it out front. Tavares tries to handle it just a few feet from the goaltender. There's a long one that doesn't get through the shin pads, and all the way back it comes. Klingberg, as it is lifted right back onto Bertuzzi's stick, cross ice. He and Riley, as it goes back into the near side corner, trying to pull it back off the wall. Able to get it back out. The Stars, who are kind of gaining their feet here in the first period. A low shot to the glove of Joseph Wall as he hangs on to that one, and it felt like a break was necessary for both these clubs. A little bit of traction being gained by this. A break was necessary for both these clubs. A little bit of traction being gained by the Stars. You're listening to Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network.
Add some ghoulish grooves to your Monster Mash with the ultimate Halloween party mix. This is Halloween. The Freaky 50, a spooky selection of songs to make you shudder and dance. Find the Freaky 50 along with many more Halloween specials in the SiriusXM app. Just search Halloween.
In case you missed it on NHL Network Radio.
The general manager of the Philadelphia Flyers, Danny Briere.
Have the fans been patient? What's their buy-in been for the rebuild?
I think the one thing we've done is we're trying to be transparent with our fans and be honest. And I think our fans are too smart. The response seems to have been really good. I hope they're as excited as I am, and it feels that way so far.
NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
If you're a soccer fan, you know that this music means one thing. The Champions League is on SiriusXM FC.
Hat-trick for Erling Haaland. Kane scores!
The top teams from around Europe are battling for club soccer's holy grail.
Real Madrid do what they do best. What a start for center.
Hear all the top Champions League matches all tournament long on SiriusXM FC 157 and streaming on the SiriusXM app.
Hi, this is Ray Hudson, and for all the biggest matches from club soccer's holy grail, the UEFA Champions League, tune in to SiriusXM FC 157.
Well, this seems like a kind of game, Jim, that is a bit of a barometer game. It's something that lets you know where you sit amongst really everybody in the league when you play a team that's 4-0-1. Back inside the line it comes, and right away the Stars take it back with Hintz taking the shot low to the pads, and we've got a penalty coming up here.
Yeah, I think TJ Brody for the trip. Or is it Marner? Marner's the one that seems to be arguing with the official. But it seemed to be both Brody and Marner were converging on the player, and I think if Sheldon Keefe had the option, I mean, you're going to lose a penalty killer one way or the other. But, it's Vince Marner for sure. But then it was the dance around by Rupe Hintz, danced around TJ Brody and was able to get a pretty good shot off on Joseph Wall. But this was for Hintz, the back-to-back 37-goal seasons. Yes, and his balance is usually a little better than that.
Well, this penalty kill is brought to you by CMC Markets. Take your trading to the next level with $0 commission on stocks.
Dallas power play this year, just 2 for 16 to start.
You get a nice touch across the line here as Ben sends it over, and back up to the blue line it comes. Jamie Benn down low, little backhander. Wall gets the pad on it and may have got a little bit of the blocker touch as well. Out of the near side corner. Everybody getting out the shovels. 3 Stars, 3 Leafs. Bit of a pile up as it comes loose, and it is carried back across the line and sent the rest of the way.
The way the Leafs have killed off just 15 of 20 times short this season. Give up 2 power play goals in Tampa, and Alexander Ovechkin's power play goal the other night was the only one given up in that game by the Leafs.
Under a minute to go here on the penalty kill. They cannot keep it in at the blue line. Little bobble there by Lundqvist. He retreats all the way back. Stepping out and dropping it back. And now cutting across the line. Marchman comes down the wall, but they cannot recover that puck. As it comes back out into center, they'll try it one more time. Duchesne across the line. Flipped off his stick, trying to take a swipe at it. The puck got a little bit of shoelace on there and just walked its way out. We got a penalty coming up here to the Stars with 20 seconds left to go in their power play.
Now, was that Matthew Nyes that had the stick knocked out of his hand? 20 seconds left on the penalty to Mitch Marner, so a little 4-on-4 to start. And then the Leafs will go to their first power play of the night. By the way, when it comes, we talk about the power play, they've only scored 2 power play goals so far this season. Dallas 2 for 16. They have not given up a power play goal yet. 15 for 15 on the penalty kill.
Well, that can't last.
I don't think so. Which 15 do you think is it?
At some point this season, that'll break. I'm not big on prognostication, but I feel comfortable.
You're an analytics guy?
Yeah, that's right. It's all numbers. It's all numbers. Ask the banker. 4-on-4 for less than 20 seconds now. It's picked up by Nylander. A little bit of space for him as he cuts in, feeds it, scores! Morgan Rielly.
Rielly had a power play goal against Washington a couple of nights ago, but Willie Nylander extends his point streak to start the season to 7. As Nylander, this is, I think, the biggest difference for most people when you're watching Willie Nylander, his willingness and ability to compete along the boards. And he is the one. The Leafs lose the draw on this faceoff, but Nylander's ability to compete along the boards. And he is the one. The Leafs lose the draw on this faceoff, but Nylander's instrumental for the Leafs, taking it to the boards and getting it back. And he comes out of the corner to the left of Wedgwood, makes a sharp cut, and then throws it back door to Morgan Riley, who taps, taking it to the boards and getting it back. And he comes out of the corner to the left of Wedgwood, makes a sharp cut, and then throws it back door to Morgan Riley, who taps it in. And now, just now, the Leafs are going to go to the power play. So not a power play goal, 4-on-4. And Riley has scored in back-to-back games, and Willie Nylander continues a scorching start.
It's impressive how early he sees Riley when he steps out of the corner.
Like I said, there's so many video game goals.
Yeah, recognition. There's a long shot that drifts off into the corner. Trying to chase it down and keep it in is Marner, coming back into their own end. John Klingberg plays it off the wall. In it comes, asking Nylander to get down the wall and steal that puck away. Won't happen as it gets sent back the other way. They'll start from 200 feet on this with less than a minute to go on the power play.
3 straight games now as well. The Leafs have opened the scoring.
Back across the line, that little shoveled backhand. Puck dances away, wobbles just a little bit, thinking about moving it back up for a little bit of offense as that puck off the stick of Klingberg, and luckily so. Looked like a great 2-on-1 across the blue line it comes. Austin Matthews trying to feed it back into the middle.
Boy, that was a brilliant defensive play by Klingberg, who sprawls and gets his stick out.
Marner plays it along to Riley on the far side, looking for Bertuzzi. Domi off the wall. Here's Liljegren at the blue line. Looks toward the goal, plays it down into the corner for Domi. He's got help out front. Broken stick by Liljegren, and now stepping back on. Jarnkrok was coming from the bench, looked like, and made sure that one didn't become more dangerous than it could be.
Leafs with a slight edge in shots on goal at 5-4. Morgan Riley very nearly returning the favor, trying to get it to Bertuzzi. Would have been almost an identical goal, but the Leafs will take a 1-0 lead here into the break.
You're listening to Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network.
Want to be certain your reno goes right? Start with Pro Materials with CertainTeed Drywall. In fire resistant, water resistant, super durable, or soundproof and top quality insulation. Ceiling systems, premium shingles, and siding. Do it right with professional grade building materials from CertainTeed. Pro all the way.
Let's get jerseys. Let's get jerseys.
Right now, become a Tangerine client with a savings account, and you could get a free Raptors jersey.
We want jerseys.
Finally, a savings account worth cheering for.
Jerseys. Jerseys.
Find out how to score a jersey at tangerine.ca/Raptors. Tangerine. That's forward conditions apply.
Alpine News Network is here live with one of our superheroes.
I run at sonic speeds, but I'm not as quick as the fastest computer. And that's exactly what Sam needed. She runs an IT firm and needed an upgrade. Within 24 hours, she was approved for a business loan. After, I stuck around to play some online games. My legs might be fast, but my thumbs, even faster.
Own your home? Need a loan? Alpine Credits can help.
Alpine Credits, where homeowners get approved. Just for license 12616.
Well, a good opportunity for the Leafs to start out going in the right direction, as you say, when you get that first goal, and they have in the last few games. It changes the directions and the directions you can go.
Yeah, the whole dynamic of the game changes, and you hear Sheldon keep saying when the Leafs gave up the first goal 4 straight games, he said we're chasing the game, which means now you've got to load up on Matthews, Marner, Nylander, Tavares. As puck knocked down with a high stick by Ryan Reeves. And I think what you saw with, especially the game in Washington a couple of nights ago, where the Leafs take a 3-goal lead into the third period. And why is that important? Well, Ryan Reeves ended up with a season-high 10:56 in ice time. Game before in Tampa, where they were chasing the game down 3-1 in the first, he was 5 minutes and 6 seconds. Another big jump for Pontus Holmberg as well. So, getting your fourth line involved a little more is one thing. resting the big guys is another.
Archie Ardena has a tough time popping that one out. A couple of different tries, but the puck on the ensuing shot goes up and out of play. A bit of a sigh of relief there from Sheldon Keefe on the bench of the Leafs.
Well, it was Scott Wedgwood on goal. We were saying it's a little disappointing not to be able to see Jake Ottinger play tonight against Joseph Wall. But for Austin Matthews on April 7th, 2000, and this would have been 2022. Austin Matthews had 2 big goals in Dallas against Wedgwood. His 55th and 56th of the season. 55 tied him with Rick Vibe for most goals in a season by a Leaf. 56 in overtime broke it.
Here's Nylander cutting to the goal. The puck will not cooperate, but he does hold on to it. And now he and Bertuzzi work along the near side wall. Into the corner. Bertuzzi trying to get it back up to the point. Tavares taking it away. He's got it on the backhand, and now a couple of whacks at it. Gets it down below the goal line, and Nylander picks it up with a little bit of space to work with. Always dangerous in space, and now a long shot from Klingberg. Hoping to find a seam there as it is played back out. High to the line. Klingberg. Back over to Riley. Nylander from a long way away draws it in and then tries to step by the defender. Cuts to the goal. Puck comes straight back over to Riley. Nylander from a long way away draws it in and then tries to step by the defender. Cuts to the goal. Puck comes straight over to Riley. The defender cuts to the goal. Puck comes straight over to Riley. Trying to sneak that one at the side of the goal. Make a couple of changes here as they try to hold on to the zone at the same time. Bertuzzi doing a great job. Just hanging on there. Comes back along the near side and then lifted all the way back down the ice. It pops right in front. Now a bit of a ping pong back and forth, but it'll only pong because they'll bring it back on the icing.
Only 6:40 to go here in the opening period. It's been a quick period, and really not a lot has happened. Unless you're a big Willie Nylander fan, because we've seen a number of great dashes and great moments for Nylander. Oh. That last one where he cut to the front of the net, he had Miro Heiskanen all over him.
Now, Leafs came out hard. Dallas pushed back a little bit. Now the Leafs, after the goal, seem to have recaptured what they intended to do at the beginning of the game. 6.5 left to play here in the first period in Dallas. Reaching back, Liljegren. Brody grabs a hold of it, moves it back up. Out it comes from Nyes. They have any intended target, but it comes right back in, driving below the goal line. Looking for some options out of the corner. There it is. The shot is not connected to. And now back the other way. Domi comes with Nyes. He sends one right at Wedgwood, who grabs it up and hangs on as it dropped at his knees.
Well, about this line, and it comes in a fanned shot attempt from the left point. But the Leafs take off on an odd man rush, but Nyes and Domi creating some odd man rushes, and we know what happened in Tampa. Nyes found the net twice.
You're listening to Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network.
We are 7 weeks into the fantasy football season, and whether your team is in the race or ready to make the greatest comeback ever, Fantasy Sports Radio is ready to take you there.
It's more rewarding when you lose your first-round pick and you find a way to win anyway.
From start-sit advice to waiver pickups to so much more.
Zero concerns about Jalen Waddle. Stop complaining. Enjoy the fantasy points that are about to come.
Showtime! Make your move with Fantasy Sports Radio. Channel 87 and on the Sirius XM app.
In case you missed it, on NHL Network Radio.
The general manager of the Philadelphia Flyers, Danny Briere.
Have the fans been patient? What's their buy-in been for the rebuild?
I think the one thing we've done is we're trying to be transparent with our fans and be honest. And I think our fans are too smart. The response seems to have been really good. I hope they're as excited as I am, and it feels that way so far.
NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
If you're a soccer fan, you know that this music means one thing. The Champions League is on Sirius XM FC.
Hat-trick for Erling Haaland. Kane scores!
The top teams from around Europe are battling for club soccer's holy grail.
Real Madrid do what they do best. Inter. What a start for Inter!
Hear all the top Champions League matches all tournament long on Sirius XM FC 157 and streaming on the Sirius XM app.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind Ristolainen. Walks in. Put it between his legs. Shoots it. Score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
Into the face-off circle, stick side of Wedgwood. Austin Matthews. Got Marner with him. Yarncroke tonight. Little change out of personnel as Ty Dellandrea steps in. Matthews wins it. Doing a good job in the face-off circle tonight. Marner waits on it. Klingberg to the goal. And that one rode up a little high and finds its way across the blue line.
He had some room there, didn't he, though? Wedgwood went down. There was a little room over the left shoulder.
Stars take it back. The drop back. Hang on. Takes a shot. Side of the goal. I don't know if that connected with Wall's foot to keep that out, but it sure looked like it.
Yeah, I think he got his left pad on that.
Here's Klingberg down the right side, leading it along for Matthews as they turn it back. Lundqvist. Klingberg picks it up there. TJ Brody moves it back out into center as they set up here and have a good long look at what they intend to do. They'll spin around one more time as they make the move back through the middle. Holmberg seemed to have run into Mason Marchment there, who was slow to get up. Marchment lifts it along the near side. It'll dig back, and you bet it was Holmberg, as Marchment just went flying by him, but missed him. You know he's got his number in the front of his mind here at the moment. Riley has a little trouble getting it back up the wall. Crossover, and that one will not end up cleanly on the stick of Heiskanen. Trying to kick this one back off the wall. Holmberg involved in that as well. We'll put a pin in that, as they say, as the Marchment and Holmberg situation develops.
Oh, lots of time left, though, isn't there?
We'll keep you apprised. Down it goes into the Leaf zone. Over the far side it rolls and comes right back. Giordano digging forward is a step to it by Nylander. He's quick to it. Onto the stick here, Giordano. He and Liljegren carry it back out down the right side. Liljegren a little bit of space. Trying to feed it in. Tavares, hard shot. And back up to Nylander at the point. Tavares inside. Couldn't quite handle that one through a couple of different players, but Nylander has played it back again into the Stars zone.
Boy, is he not the most noticeable player on the ice?
Dynamic at the moment. Here's Klingberg giving it back to Berg. Played it back again into the Stars zone.
Boy, is he not the most noticeable player on the ice?
Dynamic at the moment. Here's Klingberg giving it back to Bertuzzi as they make changes, and that one goes off the defender. And I kind of surprised Wedgwood just a little bit that it took that left turn. That's their own blue line. Stars trying to push that one back out. Carried on the backhand. Duchesne plays it along the far side, and Riley will come all the way back below his own goal line and behind Joseph Wall. Up ice with 3:06 remaining. Wall. Up ice with 3:06 remaining. Domi off to the far side, and they're going to say that was a hand pass.
Yeah, I think Matthew Nyes knocked that down. And right out of the stick, a teammate, Max Domi. Domi, by the way, 20 games with the Dallas Stars last year, coming over from the Chicago Blackhawks. 2 goals, 7 points in that stretch. And pretty solid postseason for Domi as well. John Klingberg, by the way, 625 games in his NHL career, 552 of them in Dallas. He had some great moments with the Stars, but unfortunately finished. In the year Dallas missed the playoffs, Klingberg was minus 28.
That usually spells some contract talks that don't go your way. As this one goes back in across the line, it hops over a stick, and Duchesne sends it back out. He's looking for that centering pass, but it was cut off, and now the Leafs move it back into the Dallas zone.
That was Liljegren that had it hop over his stick, and then he was the one that intercepted the cross-crease pass.
Playing it back, Klingberg. Marner in close, takes the shot, and he did not miss by much.
I think you could hear what happened there.
On the spin now. Down low, side of the goal. Wedgwood, I think he was hoping Yarncroke could get loose there, but Marner with another decent shift to build on. Klingberg toward the goal. Didn't have a lot of support coming. It was all off the bench as Holmberg now is tied up along the far boards. And a little bit of help is able to get that puck loose. Played down below for Reeves. He reaches out for it as it comes back out into center ice. Chasing it down. Leafs having a good period of puck control. A little shot there to Ty Dellandrea. No worse for wear, no penalty called. Hammered back into the Dallas zone. Ease it back out as they try to transition the puck. They don't have a lot of support for it as they were under a change, and Nylander at the red line just backhands it, pries it down low with a little over a minute to go here in the first period. Leafs leading 1-0 on a Morgan Rielly goal. Great feed from Nylander, and now here comes Bertuzzi with a step backhand, and that one goes just wide of the mark. A drive to the goal from Liljegren. The puck won't cooperate. Back over the far side it goes. Below the dots and right back out. Here's Faksa with it. He gets down into the corner, chased by Klingberg. He's getting some support here from Marchment. And a step toward the goal and a shot on. Easily handled by Wall from a few feet away. Carried back across the blue line. Looking in on the backhand and driven below the goal line. Back up it comes. Out of the corner, looking for options. This one doesn't get down low. The backhander goes up and over the snowbank with 10.7 seconds left to go in the first period.
Shots on goal just 8-5 favoring the Leafs. Bertuzzi gets a partial break. Heiskanen was all over him as he fired the backhand wide. But for Joseph Wall, he faced 17 shots in the first period against the Washington Capitals. He's only faced 5 tonight. So he must be sitting there right now and going, do I still invoice for this?
Yeah.
Does this still count?
This is where I know I'm going to take a pay cut here for this period. But
and probably Ilya Samsonov is sitting there going, really? Like this couldn't have been me. 5-shot first period. Dallas had some dangerous moments, but haven't been able to connect with anything just yet.
Rielly the only one at 9:49. Wobbles to the blue line and out. They're going to wait this one out. Send it across the blue line, but that'll be it. Shot right at the buzzer, obviously wide of the mark.
And it's funny how that used to.
Yeah.
Even any shot after the whistle or even late after the buzzer, that used to be a brawl. Because, of course, back in the old days, goalies didn't have masks, and any shots could be a dangerous one. But, by the way, no fight now. Goalies are pretty well protected.
1-0 the score. Morgan Rielly with the goal from William Nylander. Stick around for the intermission with Jim Taddy and Frankie the Grill Corrado. You're listening to Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
Hockey lives here.
Suzuki sweeps it. There's a chance. Rebound. Caulfield shoots and scores.
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
Hi, this is Ray Hudson, and for all the biggest matches from club soccer's holy grail, the UEFA Champions League, tune in to Sirius XM FC 157.
In case you missed it, on NHL Network Radio.
The general manager of the Philadelphia Flyers, Danny Briere.
Have the fans been patient? What's their buy-in been for the rebuild?
I think the one thing we've done is we're trying to be transparent with our fans and be honest. And I think our fans are too smart. The response seems to have been really good. I hope they're as excited as I am, and it feels that way so far.
Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
Sabres signed Rasmus Dahlin to an 8-year,
with Steve Koulias.
Sabres signed Rasmus Dahlin to an 8-year, that's the max, $11 million contract. This contract is more than Fox and Makar and McAvoy and Heiskanen and Hughes and Werenski. Are you telling me we couldn't have got this deal done for at least 10? Now, I like the guy, but he's not most of the guys that I just mentioned.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. Under review.
It's the argument I hear a lot of times. Well, those guys got better players around them. Gretzky was good, but he wasn't that good. He had all these good players. Argument I hear a lot of times. Well, those guys got better players around them. Gretzky was good, but he wasn't that good. He had all these good players around him. Hey, wait a minute. I don't buy that argument as a dismissal of a guy's importance, because he's part of that dynamic. He's part of that equation. And to take him out invalidates the entire equation.
Under review with Mick Kerr. Weekdays, 11 a.m. Eastern. NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. NHL Morning Skate.
Hall of Fame defenseman Chris Pronger.
You look at rest and recovery now. You know, that whole mindset has shifted tremendously from what I first came to the league in '93. So, you know, there's a lot of pros and cons to everything. But overall, when you look at the skill level of the player and the speed of the game, it's certainly gone to another level.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick. Weekdays, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. If you're a soccer fan, you know that this music means one thing. The Champions League is on Sirius XM FC.
Hat-trick for Erling Haaland. Kane scores!
The top teams from around Europe are battling for club soccer's holy grail.
Real Madrid do what they do best. What a start for Inter!
Hear all the top Champions League matches all tournament long on Sirius XM FC 157 and streaming on the Sirius XM app.
The Point.
I truly believe in 3 years, Jack Hughes will be worth $15 million a year. For $15 million a year, they got Hughes and Hischier locked up together. Those are two brilliant contracts, but there isn't a single area where I look at the Devils and think, okay, this is of concern to me. They're locked and loaded.
The Point with Boomer Gordon. Weekdays, 1 p.m. Eastern. NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The best hockey lives here.
Burns gets it back. Stick handles to the backhand. Moves in front. Score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
You're listening to the Intermission Show on the home of the blue and white on the Leafs Radio Network. Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey is on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network. The Leafs live here.
Picked up by Nylander. A little bit of space for him as he cuts in, feeds it, scores! Morgan Riley.
1-0 for the Leafs over Dallas after 20 minutes of play. By your Ontario Subaru dealers. Hurry to your local Subaru dealer and get more out of every kilometer this fall, including more karaoke. Jim Taddy and Frank Corrado with you. Frankie C., forget about the goal. Let's talk about the assist. That was Hall of Fame material.
That's what Nylander's been doing, Jim. He's been outstanding this whole season, and we got a good taste of it tonight on that assist on the Morgan Riley goal. The thing I really like about it is the fact that he's the one who makes that play happen. He's the one who pursues the puck off the faceoff. He's the one who wins a battle. And it's not just there where it stops. He brings the puck out to the front of the net, makes a beautiful move. And good on Morgan Riley to attack that open area of the ice, to attack downhill, beats his player to the net. He has a wide open cage. But Nylander was flying all period long. He gets an assist there. He takes on Miro Heiskanen twice wide, jams the puck, brings it to the net. Like, Miro Heiskanen is one of the best skating defensemen in the NHL. And Nylander is taking him on one-on-one, no problem, and getting a step on him multiple times. Very impressive period for Nylander. And I think now, like, we can't do this every single time Nylander has a good period or makes a nice play. But, like, slowly he's cementing himself as one of the best right wingers in the league at this point. We're having some technical difficulties. You're listening to the Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network.
Yes, good guy.
Want to be certain your reno goes right? Start with Pro Materials with CertainTeed Drywall. In fire resistant, water resistant, super durable, or soundproof and top quality insulation. Ceiling systems, premium shingles, and siding. Do it right with professional grade building materials from CertainTeed. Pro all the way.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuss shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
All right, everyone. Step up and down. Left foot, right foot. You're climbing up a trail. Now back in your Subaru with symmetrical, full-time, all-wheel drive and getting active in the real world. Work those abs. Driving right through the mud and left and right. Keep that core engaged and mud and left and right. Keep that core engaged and bend at the knees as you load more into your Subaru. Windows down. Take in that outdoor air and park.
Get more value out of every kilometer at your local Subaru dealer, starting with award-winning safety.
Alpine News Network is here live with one of our superheroes.
I don't want to say I'm a big deal, but I am a superhero. I love helping people consolidate their debts, and that's what I did for the Smiths. I took their bills and zoom, wha-bam, zap, turn them into one low monthly payment. No, the sound's not necessary, but it's part of the fun.
Own your home? Need a loan? Alpine Credits can help.
Alpine Credits, where homeowners get approved. Just for license 12616.
NHL. Need a loan? Alpine Credits can help.
Alpine Credits, where homeowners get approved. Just for license 12616.
NHLshop.ca, the official online store of the National Hockey League. And Canada's largest selection of officially licensed NHL fan gear. With unique one-of-a-kind designs by Fanatics, Adidas, and all the latest styles for every NHL team. Don't miss out. Shop now and get today's special offer. NHLshop.ca, a Fanatics experience.
Want to be certain your reno goes right? Start with Pro Materials with CertainTeed Drywall. In fire resistant, water resistant. Want to be certain your reno goes right? Start with Pro Materials with CertainTeed Drywall. In fire resistant, water resistant, super durable, or soundproof and top quality insulation. Ceiling systems, premium shingles, and siding. Do it right with professional grade building materials from CertainTeed. Pro all the way.
Molson Canadian Leafs hockey between periods, and the Leafs have a 1-0 lead over the Dallas Stars. Jim Taddy and Frankie Corrado with you. Apologize for the technical difficulties, whatever they may be.
It's nice to have you back,
but anyways,
Jimmy.
Frankie, see, I don't
know if you heard. I threw to
Corrado with you. Apologize for the technical difficulties, whatever they may be.
It's nice to have you back,
but anyways,
Jimmy.
Frankie, see, I don't
know if you heard. I threw to break. It wasn't my best stuff, but I threw to break,
yes,
and we made it
I did
back.
hear that. I came. Going out and what that could stress on the Leafs tonight.
Yeah, Jimmy, your microphone just cut out there, but I don't know exactly what you were asking. If you were asking about if the Dallas Stars offense can get going, where do you want to go here?
I was talking about McCabe and what that would do to the Leafs.
Okay, so that's exactly what I'd like to look at in the second period. Jake McCabe leaves after one.
What that would do to the Leafs.
Okay, so that's exactly what I'd like to look at in the second period. Jake McCabe leaves after one shift in the game, and now we're going to see a rotating cast of 5 on the D-core. And I've had this situation happen, and playing with different partners when you're thrust into it like this is different than playing 7 defensemen and going into a game with a lot of thinking involved and a lot of different strategizing. Like, the D-coach, Mike Van Ryn, essentially is going to roll 5 defensemen. He's going to try and get the players who he had paired up out there as much as he possibly can, meaning Brody and Riley if he can, Giordano and Klingberg if he can, but we're going to see a lot of Liljegren with Brody. Brody's going to be going from playing on the left side to the right side, but there's less thinking involved now. Guys are just going out there playing. And hopefully we see Jake McCabe back in the game. We didn't see a collision. We didn't see a big hit happen. So now it's one of those things where, did he pull a muscle? Did he pull a groin? We'll keep our eyes out for Jake McCabe in the second period, but it opens the door for the Dallas Stars, who didn't have anything going offensively. And I credit a lot of that to the Leafs and their ability to have the puck, possess the puck, push the puck up the ice, keep the Dallas Stars to the outside of the ice. But Dallas didn't have anything going offensively. So see if they can find a way to get to the middle of the ice here with Jake McCabe not finishing that first period.
Yeah, it was a better start, and the young goaltender Wall only had to make 5 saves, so that's an improvement in that area in terms of not relying on the goalie. So they seem to have fixed that, right?
Yeah, you know what? In Joseph Woll has not been eased into any of the games so far. He's had to go right from the drop of the puck, face a lot of shots, and you look at 6 minutes into the game. I actually got a text from someone watching the game saying, Leafs look pretty good tonight. And I said, well, it's 6 minutes in. And it was a good point by them. Like, 6 minutes into a lot of other games this year, we've seen the Leafs give up a lot of shots, not have a lot of shots themselves, sort of get peppered. They didn't do that period. They came out ready to play. And I'll be honest, like, you ask players that have been around the league, that building in Dallas is not an easy building to play in. There's something about it. It's a little rowdy. They've been on a long road trip. They started in Florida. They go up to Washington. Now you have Dallas and Nashville to finish things off. If there was going to be a game where you would see a big letdown or you would see the grind of the road trip really getting to you, this would be the one. But no complaints for the Leafs as far as effort goes in that first period. I thought they were much faster than Dallas. They were way more crisp. By far the better team in that period. They look to continue that in the second.
Okay, I'm going to get the out-of-town scoreboard out of the way, and then if we have time, I'll ask you another question. The out-of-town scoreboard is brought to you by Maple Toyota. Build your next dream Toyota at Maple Toyota, and check out Maple Toyota's pre-owned inventory arriving daily. It is time to Toyota. Visit mapletoyota.com. Lightning 5-0 over the Sharks. That's in the third period. In the second, Flyers 3-0 over the Wild. In the second, Islanders 2-1 over the Ottawa Senators. Also, after 40 minutes of play, Boston 3-1 over the Ducks. After 40 minutes, Kraken 2-1 over the Canes. Also, after 40 minutes of play, Winnipeg 2, Detroit 1. And at the same time frame, the Jackets have a 3-2 lead over the Montreal Canadiens. Penguins 3-0 over the Avs. The Leafs, of course, 1-0 over the Stars. There's a couple of games that go later tonight. St. Louis and Calgary, the Rangers and Edmonton against the Oilers. So in the time we have left, which is a couple of minutes, what are you looking for in period 2?
Well, one performance that I would like to see pick up the pace here in the second period, Jimmy, is the officiating. I thought that Mitch Marner penalty on Rope Hintz, first of all, was not a trip. Rope Hintz looked like he toe-picked of his own volition, so he goes down. And then, of course, they even things up with Wyatt Johnson, a really weak slashing call on Noah Gregor. I don't know how you can call that a slash. That's 2 minutes for just being stronger on your stick. Yeah. And then they missed a Noah Gregor high stick later in that period. So for me, that's 0 for 3 on calls and one non-call that wasn't made. But I would like to see that a little bit better. And then we're going to see how the D-core plays. We don't know if Jake McCabe is going to be back in this game or not. He's only played 10 seconds. If not, it's going to stress the team for the rest of this game. I have a good feeling that the 5 that are playing will be able to withstand it. But what does that mean going forward? Does that mean Simon Benoit? Like, we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, but at some point someone's going to have to fill that void if Jake McCabe's not able to play or if he's out for a substantial period of time.
Leafs lead at 1-0 over Dallas, and that means the second period is next. This is Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network.
Christopher Mad Dog Russo is still here. Wait, did he actually go anywhere?
Now, I've been wrong on the Diamondbacks from day one. If they win, I will retire on the spot.
Lucky for us, you can still catch the Hall of Famer weekdays on Mad Dog Sports Radio.
I probably didn't realize that this would cause such an uproar.
With his unique brand of sports talk that you'll love, it's Mad Dog Unleashed with Christopher Mad Dog Russo. Weekdays at 3 p.m. Eastern on Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82 and the SiriusXM app. In case you missed it, on NHL Network Radio.
The general manager of the Philadelphia Flyers, Danny Briere.
Have the fans been patient? What's their buy-in been for the rebuild?
I think the one thing we've done is we're trying to be transparent with our fans and be honest. I think our fans are too smart. The response seems to have been really good. I hope they're as excited as I am, and it feels that way so far.
NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. If you're a soccer fan, you know that this music means one thing. The Champions League is on SiriusXM FC.
Hat-trick for Erling Haaland. Kane scores!
The top teams from around Europe are battling for club soccer's holy grail.
Real Madrid do what they do best. What a start for Inter!
Hear all the top Champions League matches all tournament long on SiriusXM FC 157 and streaming on the SiriusXM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind Ristolainen, walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM.
Hi, this is Ray Hudson, and for all the biggest matches from club soccer's holy grail, the UEFA Champions League, tune in to SiriusXM FC 157.
Join me, Scott Laughlin, and Gord Stellick, along with former NHLer Mike Johnson for NHL Morning Skate, weekday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91.
Oh, the second period about to begin from Dallas, Texas, as the Leafs hold a 1-0 lead. Morgan Riley with the goal at 9:49, and it wasn't exactly a high-level opportunity period, but there were some brilliant moments executed by Nylander.
Yeah, Willie Nylander was the most noticeable player on the ice again. This is starting to become a bit of a recording, but now 7-game point streak to start the season for Nylander. 5 goals, 11 points in that stretch. Had a great goal in Washington, breaking on the right wing in the second period, driving to the net, snapping it home. But they talk about 2-man units now. It used to be you always had a great line. Now everything seems to be in twos, and we see Taylor Bertuzzi, who started the year with Matthews and Marner, now on the line with Tavares and Nylander.
Well, if you can find a couple of guys who can pair well together, then that third guy becomes the guy with the shovels and picks.
But now what we're missing is those great nicknames for lines.
Right.
He used to have the gag line, the goal of game line in Detroit, in New York, with the Rangers. All these great lines is now kind of diminished to 2. And Edmonton have 2 guys that are either together or trying to drive lines on their own.
Well, and you can't just turn around and call everybody Batman and Robin.
No.
You get to duos like that, and all of a sudden you're reaching back to Hope and Crosby. It's not great. Bertuzzi with it now as he moves it along to Brody down the left side. Dropped into the Stars zone, played by Wedgwood. They turn it around quick. They won the opening draw and had a couple of charges here as they try to bring it back across the line, cut down, and then a hard shot from some distance, but it misses the mark.
It was Jamie Benn that just wound up and hammered it from the high slot through some traffic.
Little toss out of the corner of the far side as it comes up to the blue line. Little ease into the zone. Down into the corner, and after it goes Marner. Turncroak there. Matthews plays it to Marner as he tries to force it back inside. Just a little tap. Didn't work out, and back the other way they come. Stars send it down into the corner. Back up high, long shot off from a long way away. Getting those shots off, you you're happy enough to let that fly. In close, blocked, and back up to the blue line one more time. There's another one. They're just letting them fly here from the blue line, and if they could find any more distance, they would.
That time it was Kelly Yarncroft, though, that got picked off on that shot that never made it to the net.
You get one, even if you get one now, you begin to wonder. Here's a great pass out front and stretching out Joseph Wall.
Boy, and that was off Jason Robertson as well. Back-to-back 40-goal man for the Dallas Stars. I want to ask you this. Seeing Joseph Wall go so quick left to his right and get that right skate on the post, and this was after T.J. Brody sort of stumbled and lost the puck in the corner, and it was Pavelski that threw it out front, and Robertson was wide open. Joseph Wall wouldn't have been somebody that you saw play with the Marlies and thought right away, this guy's going to be a great starter in the NHL. He had some rough outings to begin his career, didn't he?
Oh, he had a tough first year. In fact, a lot of the Marlies records that you may not want on the resume are held by Joseph Wall. But he did something as he grew, working with a lot of the different goaltending coaches, Hannu Toivonen, guys like that, where he went from being just an athletic guy and trying to rely on that to actually becoming a technical goaltender that used athleticism as he does on the last play.
But there must have been a mental shift as well.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Whether it's, they talk about focus, you talk about tracking pucks.
And he's an extremely smart guy as well, and he's got a lot of other interests too. Listen to him play piano in a hotel lobby, and he's incredible. Here's a toss in close. Wall just sets up, and he calmly turns that one aside.
Right, we talked about him having a rather simple opening period. Dallas Stars only had 4 shots in the first period, and they've already had 6 here in 2.5 minutes to start the second.
A little bit of a message. Sometimes you don't need the message, I don't think, to come from the coaching staff, but if you get it.
The Leafs have turned the puck over a lot here to start this period.
That one is lifted well out of the zone and finds its way up and into the bench of the Stars.
Jamie Benn in the lineup for the Dallas Stars comes into this game with 2 goals and 4 points on the season. He won the Art Ross Trophy in the 2014-15 season. On the last day of the regular season, he had 4 points, 3 goals, and an assist to win the Art Ross outright.
Picked up out front, a bouncer that just touches the crease and then goes wide to the left of the goal and right back the other way. A disjointed chance, but a chance nonetheless.
I'll finish that story on Ben's Art Ross Trophy season in a moment, which, by the way, was the lowest point per game total to win the scoring title since, I think it was Elmer Locke in the 1940s. but I'll tell you the significance. It looks like the Leafs are going to go back in the power play here.
As it's dropped back by Nylander, extra attacker on as Wall comes to the bench. Looking across the blue line for Nylander, but it is tipped and handled by the Stars.
Going to be a holding penalty. We'll see which Dallas player is going to be nailed on this. There's going to be somebody that's on the bench right now as the officials go over there. So, Jamie Benn, this is how he wins the scoring title. He's 4 points back, or 3 points back, as the game's going on to win the scoring title. Scores 3 goals. The third goal came with about 2.5 minutes to go in regulation. The fourth point was an assist. The third goal was in an empty net. The fourth goal was an assist with 9 seconds left on a goal scored by Cody Eakin. That gave him the outright lead. 1 point better than John Tavares. Tavares had 2 assists in his final game against Columbus. He thought that would have been enough to win it. Jamie Benn had the miracle finish to that season.
Well, they come back shorthanded. They try to lift it in on goal. Ty Dellandrea there to pick it up. This power play is brought to you by the Ontario Subaru dealers. Hurry to your local Subaru dealer and get more out of every kilometer this fall, including more karaoke as Tavares takes the pass from Marners. They try to work it back off the boards. It is unsuccessful, and it is carried back the other way, and now they have a 3-on-2. Ben hands this one back, and high into the windows that one goes. Tavares picks it up, immediately sees some attention.
Why this power play really struggling to get any kind of offensive zone possession time.
Drop back for Marner. Couple of moves as he gets it along to Riley, who convinces it to get below the goal line and in behind the goal. Stepping out front, trying the wraparound was Matthews. Picked up by Nylander. On the half boards, looks below for Tavares, comes back up high for Marner. He finds Matthews out front, backhand, and just not enough on it as it goes wide of the mark. And good job by Tavares to steal the puck away and keep it inside the zone. This one bounces back to the blue line. Riley swiftly playing it to Matthews. Here's Riley at the dot, takes the shot, rebound, swiping at it was Nylander, but it wouldn't fall for him either.
When Nylander was being taken down, it was on his way down that he was able to get a hold of the rebound and fire it towards Wedgwood.
9 seconds left to go. They might get one more rush here as Timothy Liljegren comes quickly through center, then drops it back off. Here's Bertuzzi looking inside to center the puck. It never quite got there, and back down the ice it comes. Right out of the box, and on top of it was Hintz, but he runs into Wall, who protects the puck nicely. Extra effort to get it up and out. Now Bertuzzi is way down the left wing. Bertuzzi plays it behind the goal. Looking out front. A little touch on it. Back the other way, Pavelski. Cross the line they come. They go to the goal. Puck never gets there. In fact, blocking it out front was Liljegren. Got a couple of blocks in this one where he took some punishment.
That one stung him there.
A little tap back. Here's Bertuzzi. Cross the line. Leaves it back. Domi and Bertuzzi as he rolls to the far side. Comes back to the near side. Giordano throws it off of a foot. Gets it back along the half board. Steps away. Goes over to the far side of the ice. And the puck would not quite make friends. But it does end up with an icing call. And Timothy Liljegren took a hard shot there that is making him swallow pretty hard.
We did see Dallas do that in the opening period, starting to fire the puck from everywhere, but they've really come out here to start the second. Firing on all cylinders. Just anytime they've got the puck on their stick in the offensive zone, it's going to the net. And Liljegren took the run to the last one. Leafs' best chance might have been the wraparound attempt by Austin Matthews. Picked up the puck behind the net, the big swoop, trying to get it around the right pad of Wedgwood.
Shots now at a dozen apiece. 13-15 left to go in this second period. Trying to squeeze in and on the backhand. On the wraparound attempt, a little touch by Wall's foot. Keeps that puck out. Moving it right back through center. They don't get that chance. And now here comes a great opportunity right on the doorstep for Matt Duchene. But Wall comes up with the save.
Boy, Joseph Wall, not a story in the opening period, but he has been brilliant. As the Leafs need to tighten up here in the second, or they're going to be in some trouble.
You're listening to Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network.
Want to be certain your reno goes right? Start with Pro Materials with CertainTeed Drywall. In fire resistant, water resistant, super durable, or soundproof and top quality insulation. Ceiling systems, premium shingles, and siding. Do it right with professional grade building materials from CertainTeed. Pro all the way.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuzz shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
The wheels on the bus go Do more in a reliable Subaru, they said. Enjoy more time together to go more places with symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive, they said. More award-winning safety for more peace of mind, but to listen to one song over and over again with fantastic acoustics. I love you, family, but the singing, nobody warned me about the singing.
Hurry to your local Subaru dealer and get more out of every kilometer this fall, including more karaoke.
The second period is brought to you by Molson, whether it's Canadian, Ultra, Export, or XL. There's a Molson with your name on it.
This is John Klingberg playing back in Dallas, where he spent the majority of his career. Leads this game, or all players in this game, in ice time, 12 minutes and 22 seconds here in the early going.
Play underway. Matthews moves it along for Riley. It bounces in front of Yarncroke. Good movement by the Stars, who are having a better second period. Getting some decent opportunities. The Leafs turn this one back around as Yarncroke comes down the left side and sends it all the way around. It pops by Marner, but Matthews able to keep it in. A little extra help from Marner, and that puck, if it comes to Matthews, there's lots of space to work with. Liljegren has to defend the play, and does, as it comes back into the Leaf zone. He carries it right back out, cuts into the middle, and sends it in on goal. Wedgwood handles the puck, which he has not had to do a whole heck of a lot here in the second period.
I'm a firm believer that some games, or a lot of games in the National Hockey League, to win, you just need your goaltender. Don't give up the bad one. Don't give up that one that can defeat, the emotion on the bench and have everybody say, "Oh my God, now we got to work to get this back." But for Joseph Woll, I would say the first period was like that. The second period has gone to the other side, where you need your goalie to keep you in.
Well, that one pops up and in the neighbor's yard with 8 minutes gone here in the second period.
I know you were saying, when we were discussing his beginnings with the Toronto Marlies and the struggles that he had.
Yeah.
But, with what we've seen of him at the NHL level, 6-0-1 last year, or 6-1 to start his NHL career, was, I thought, brilliant when it came to his play in the playoffs against Florida, even the game he went into that they lost in overtime.
Well, and I think there's lots of players that oftentimes you talk about in development, and you think, oh, well, the reason we have development. Well, you seldom look at goaltenders that way, because oftentimes you're thinking, oh, it's a lucky thing when that happened. Here's Nylander behind the goal. Carries it up to the blue line. Liljegren, a great example of development and how important it is. But when you look at a goaltender, sometimes you just say, well, he figured it out. Well, he got a lot of help doing it. And I got to say, Joe Woll turned a corner pretty quickly after that first year. Here's Riley with it as he sends it along to the blue line. Feeding it back in. Little move this way and that way. David Kampf. Below the goal line, Domi taps it back. Matthew Nyes tries to drag it along the wall. Little help here from Kampf as he tries to backhand it, center it back out. Domi plays it down low, yet Morgan Riley going to the goal. Didn't connect, and now back come the Stars. Robertson waiting for the pass out front. Never quite got there, and in fact, Woll, I think, had to make a save off his own man. That puck got a little hairy there at the side of his goal. Calm movement here from Dallas as they take it on the backhand and send it down low. Over the far side. Little touch goes nowhere. Woll with a keen eye as it works itself out from behind the goal. There's another long pass. Misses the mark. Little tumble out front from Holmberg. Reeves has it pinned against the wall. And back out it comes along the near side. Inside the blue line and now handed off. Turning around. Long one there. But, it stays inside the glass. Back up it comes. Some good movement here from the Stars. Not getting a lot of quality shots away necessarily, but they're wearing them down perhaps. As Reeves and Giordano try to get a hold of that puck.
Yeah, this is a long shift for the fourth line in their own end.
Nyes tries to throw a stick to it. Carried along by Heiskanen.
Could say 2/3 of the fourth line. Nyes has been out for a long time.
Trying to move it quickly. Back up high to the blue line. Here's the hard shot. Doesn't come. They think about it again. They keep moving it, but they're not taking a lot of shots. Duchesne looks like he wants to cut in. Decides to send it back up high again. Heiskanen. Back to Duchesne. Long one. Side of the goal. Gives the Leafs a chance to see if they can recover it. Holmberg works along the boards as he gets them in tight here to see if just a step on the puck. Nyes smartly just plays it back out in a shift that is Charles Dickens long. Is stopped and cut down. Up top scores. Mason Marchment puts it over Joseph Woll's shoulder. And the Stars have tied it up at 1 apiece with 8:43 left to go in the second period. You could feel it starting to break.
Yeah, and for Ryan Reeves, he ends up still on the ice after this turnover. Nyes has the puck in the Dallas zone and lobs it out. But by the time everybody goes for a change, Dallas recovers, and it's an odd man rush back the other way, and Mason Marchment has his first of the season on a nice setup from Duchesne. But, I mean, this is a 3-on-2 from the Leaf blue line in, and you can just feel it as the Stars are now out shooting the Leafs 15-3. 11 shots on goal already for Dallas here in the second period.
Quality shots that Woll has turned aside, but they unable to get to that one. Marchment with a nice snipe.
Well, that was right off the crossbar and down over the right shoulder of Joseph Woll.
Riley Duchesne, as you said, with the assist at 11:16. Across the blue line. We'll see if that acts as a bit of a smelling salt here for the Leafs. Here come the Stars back across the line one more time. They'll have to regroup as they come back out into center, trying to turn this one around. Craig Smith, he carries it and now works his way with some speed, drops it back. The shot from Ben, and it is stopped and cut down by Woll. But what a great opportunity he was given. Trying to drag this one down. Nylander takes the shot, and a good save as Nylander with the deceptive shot, still with the puck. Now he comes away on his backhand over to the far corner, looking out front, trying to find a way to get it up and over the shoulder was Tavares. Again, another shot toward the goal. Nylander knocked down in the process. There's another one that gets unloaded in the direction of the goaltender Wedgwood. Off into the corner. Bertuzzi turns back as the puck kind of got hung up in some snow. Smith moves it back out, but the Leafs recover. Domi moves it along, and it is sent right back in. He'll try to get after that one as Thomas Harley moves it. Off the wall it comes again. Is it kept in? It is indeed. Working toward the goal out front. Great chance. And Wedgwood takes it away.
Well, the Leafs in the middle of a change, and Noah Gregor jumped on the ice, and Max Domi found him with a perfect pass to the slot. But Wedgwood with maybe one of his best saves of the evening to keep this game at 1.
Marchment ties it up. You're listening to Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network.
Still to this day, if I listen to that record, I'll feel things that I didn't feel years ago.
Hi, I'm Conan O'Brien. Hear my in-depth conversation with Nirvana as In Utero turns 30. Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend with Dave Grohl, Chris Novoselic, and producer Steve Albini. Hear encores throughout the week on Channel 34. Schedule at SXM Lithium or listen right now with the SiriusXM app. Just search Nirvana.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
Sabres signed Rasmus Dahlin to an 8-year, that's the max, $11 million contract. This contract is more than Fox and Makar and McAvoy and Heiskanen and Hughes and Werenski. Are you telling me we couldn't have got this deal done for at least 10? Now, I like the guy, but he's not most of the guys that I just mentioned.
The Power Play. Weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91 and the SiriusXM app. under review.
It's the argument I hear a lot of times. Well, those guys got better players around them. Gretzky was good, but he wasn't that good. Had all these good players around him. Wait a minute. I don't buy that argument as a dismissal of a guy's importance, because he's part of that dynamic. He's part of that equation. And to take him out invalidates the entire equation.
Under review with Mick Curran. Weekdays, 11 a.m. Eastern. NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The best hockey lives here.
Martins gets it back. Stick handles to the backhand. Moves in front. Score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
We are back as the Stars have themselves a tie with the Leafs now, as Mason Marchment got a hold of one. Here they come again as we got 6:30 left to go in the second period.
Dallas Stars are looking a lot more dangerous this period, aren't they?
Now they're looking like a team that indeed is 4-0-1 on the season. 16 shots apiece. Most of those shots coming in this second period. Jason Robertson pushes that one along. Top of the face-off circle. Spun, and a shot there. Is, if it wasn't for the spinning top out front, you'd think that was designed. Hence just caught a bit of a figure skating edge. They'll retreat back into their own zone. Here they come back through the middle. Robertson looking for a little bit of help off the wall, sends it down into the corner instead as it comes back up high. Little feed back in. Behind the goal. Robertson again steps out. An eye to it, and he sent it over to the far side of the goal, but he didn't have anybody really drop in. I think he was expecting a little bit more aggressive attack. As it was lifted back out into center, and now Yarncroke across the line, but he lost a tire, and now back the other way it comes. Wall comes out to play it. Up along the near wall. Off the wall it comes. Yarncroke gets it back and sends it to the far side. Racing after it, Morgan Rielly will not get there, though he was pretty sure he had a case.
Yeah, he gave the deaths there, didn't he, to the linesman after the whistle was blown. 5:01 to go, so they'll go back into the Leaf zone.
They don't recognize trying. That's what I've noticed. I really tried.
A lot of those, with technology now, you should be able to put up like the tape from a race.
Yeah.
Got across. You should do that.
That's right. And it should be able to tell you right away what's going on.
Leafs win the draw. Well, this is how you get a little extra time. If you're stuck out in a long shift and you ice the puck, win the draw and ice it again.
Yeah, I see that when Frankie Corrado does the stuff online, he shows, he highlights guys and he gets them moving this way and that way. And he used to show like cooking videos on his used to be meat on the grill, but as it turns out, he's gone full on hockey now. No fooling around with strange cuts of meat on the grill. Here's Tavares down the left side, throws it out front, and it's off the goaltender. Over the far side, picked up. Stars move it back. Harley. Cut back through the middle. Throw across the ice on the backhand. They'll ease it down below the goal line, but it'll be picked up by Morgan Rielly. Trying to play it right back was Klingberg. And they'll get this sorted out because they get a half second of time here before they're chased out by Dellandrea. Stars turn it around one more time. Boy, have they done a good job at the Leafs blue line of turning around the puck. It comes out. They send it right back in here in the second period. Less than 4 minutes to play. Tied up at one apiece. Morgan Rielly for the Leafs. Mason Marchment for Dallas. It pops out of the pile. Finds its way up. And at the blue line, they just cannot seem to get it out. Deep in the corner. Unpursued. Comes back high to the line. Long shot. Wall. How he got an eye on it, don't know, but he did. Now play back off into the far wall. Up and over the snowbank.
Yeah, unfortunately, this went off a Dallas stick before it left, so the Leafs avoid a delay a game penalty, but they're hanging on here, being outshot 14-9 in the second period.
You're listening to Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network.
Alpine News Network is here live with one of our superheroes.
The secret to my super strength? A mega-calorie diet. And my super strong muscles are exactly what Ann and Kate needed. They wanted a backyard with a tiki bar. You know the vibe. They were approved for a home renovation loan. And I got these powerful hands dirty. Their backyard is now glorious.
Own your home? Need a loan? Alpine Credits can help.
Alpine Credits, where homeowners get approved. Just for license 12616.
Want to be certain your reno goes right? Start with Pro Materials with CertainTeed Drywall. In fire resistant, water resistant, super durable, or soundproof and top quality insulation. Ceiling systems, premium shingles, and siding. Do it right with professional grade building materials from CertainTeed. Pro all the way.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuss shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
You're talking about Joe Pavelski and his 1,000th NHL point. 1,000 is a very tough word to say. But
1,000.
1,000.
What about 1,007?
Exactly. Yeah. So when he gets to that, well, he has got to that point. Now it's not up to him anymore. But anyway, he is amazing. Here's Hintz waiting for a pass, but Liljegren does a pretty good job of taking away the opportunity. Talk about taking away the opportunity. Wall throws the glove out to hang on to that one.
Point. Job in the opening period, as we said, don't give up anything bad. He didn't on 4 shots, but in the second period, he has become the story of this game.
Off the draw, comes back over to the far side, into the corner, left there, high to the line. They're moving it at will here, the Stars, in the second period, as it comes once again to the blue line. Probing that one off of Wall, and bounces wide of the mark. And finally, the Leafs get a hold of it and are able to exit the zone cleanly and then drop it down below the goal line in the near side corner. They do not hang on to it as it comes right back out into center. That one flipped across the line. They'll have to make some changes here with 2:38 left to go. It allows the Stars to collect their thoughts and the puck as well and then drop it back. Here's Robertson on the backhand. Nifty little play to send it in close, but it doesn't quite connect. Bertuzzi forcing it back across the blue line. Tried to drop it back. Disconnect there with John Tavares as it comes back across the line and deep off of Wall. Out front, backhand. Great chance, but up into the windows.
Boy, and this all starts with a turnover at the Dallas line.
And this one goes offside with 2:05 remaining.
I mean, you don't want to put the handcuffs on guys as far as being creative and trying to generate scoring chances. But when you're at this point of a game where you're hanging on and you're in a lot of trouble in your own zone, you get it to the line, you got to get it deep. Yep. Get it deep, go in after it on the forecheck. Instead, Bertuzzi tries to make a backhand pass that's picked off, and the Stars come roaring back again the other way.
I could be misguided, but I have heard that pucks in deep thing before.
Yes. I think I had one coach. That's all he said in 2 years.
There's a chance. Marner scoops it up, finds it, and makes exact change. 1:53 remaining in the second. Leafs, go ahead.
This looks like an absolute nothing play, but the puck, thanks to Austin Matthews, is corralled to the right of goaltender Wedgwood. And this coming after the Leafs win a face-off outside the Dallas line. Oh, and what do? Brock, they get the puck deep. Fire it in from the red line. They go in after it, and it's Austin Matthews that pokes it away and then basically just leaves it there for Mitch Marner to snap glove side. Marner's about 15 feet out in front of the Dallas net in the left wing circle, and he just snaps it. Glove side, his second of the year, first even strength goal.
Waiting, shooting, and that one Wedgwood is able to track down, but it stays alive along the near side boards. Well, we worked that one in. You got to win the battle along the boards. That's also something I've heard. Once, maybe twice.
Win the one-on-one battles, pucks deep, traffic in front, get pucks through.
It's a simple game.
Thank God for the ability.
Here's Marner with it as Riley pushes it ahead. Matthews drops it off. Camp trying to push it back along the wall and get a little help. And folks changing over at the bench with a minute left to go here in the second period. You have a period like that if you're the Dallas Stars, boy, you'd like a little better outcome than just the one goal. Here comes down the right side, feeding it back in. The backhander from Domi on the pass. Looking for Nyes, who calls for it there. Out front it comes, and it's cleared away calmly by Wedgwood. 35 seconds left to go in the second period. Played off to the wall. Domi there to intercept it. He's able to move it back along as Nyes jockeys for position, but a whistle on the play.
Well, I see a stick laying on the ice. That sometimes signals there's going to be a slashing penalty. But yeah, this goal that Mitch Marner scores is a very simple play. Dump it in, pops out, and Austin Matthews lifts the stick and just leaves it on a tee for Mitch Marner. We got a penalty here? Nope. 25.2 seconds to go here in the second period. The Leafs up 1-0 after the first. Dallas tied it, and Mitch Marner restored the lead here in the second period. Marner and Riley both getting their second of the season.
Ball draws in the forward and is able to move the puck. Leafs won't need that one to go on an adventure, and Wall agrees.
Now we saw Matthew Nyes out for an extended shift, 2 minutes and 15 seconds. The shift for Matthews and Nyes, those were the Phil Esposito shifts in the 70s. And I remember there was always a great line that somebody had about Freddie Stanfield was the centerman that was always up after Phil Esposito. And the joke was that Fred Stanfield would never be able to father children because he spent most of his life straddling the boards waiting for Phil Esposito to get off.
There's Morgan Riley. It's not hog on the pond in the middle of nowhere, you know. That'll be it. 40 minutes in the books as the Leafs come away with a goal in this one to put themselves up 2-1. Mitch Marner at 18:07.
As good as the Leafs were to earn the 1-0 lead after the first, they were fortunate to lead the second with that same lead, a one-goal lead, 2-1. Joseph Wall, again, the save he made off Jason Robertson was probably the best of some pretty impressive stops.
Stick around for the intermission. You're listening to Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network.
The NFL trade deadline is Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Will it be a trick or a treat for your favorite team on Halloween? Who's staying? Who's on the move?
There's a business side of this, and sometimes you have to make tough decisions.
SiriusXM NFL Radio is your home for the latest news and rumors.
This trade is a huge upgrade over what they had.
Nobody covers the trade deadline like our experts on SiriusXM NFL Radio Channel 88 and the SiriusXM app.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
Sabres signed Rasmus Dahlin to an 8-year, that's the max, $11 million contract. This contract is more than Fox and Makar and McAvoy and Heiskanen and Hughes and Werenski. Are you telling me we couldn't have got this deal done for at least 10? Now, I like the guy, but he's not most of the guys that I just mentioned.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91 and the SiriusXM app.
Under review. It's the argument I hear a lot of times. Well, those guys got better players around them. Gretzky was good, but he wasn't that good. Had all these good players around him. Wait a minute. I don't buy that argument as a dismissal of a guy's importance because he's part of that dynamic. He's part of that equation. And to take him out invalidates the entire equation.
Under Review with Mick Curran. Weekdays, 11 a.m. Eastern. NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. NHL Morning Skate.
Hall of Fame defenseman Chris Pronger.
You look at rest and recovery now, that whole mindset has shifted tremendously from when I first came to the league in 93. So, there's a lot of pros and cons to everything. But overall, when you look at the skill level of the player and the speed of the game, it's certainly gone to another level.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick. Weekdays, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. In case you missed it, on NHL Network Radio.
The general manager of the Philadelphia Flyers, Danny Briere.
Have the fans been patient? What's their buy-in been for the rebuild?
I think the one thing we've done is we're trying to be transparent with our fans and be honest. And I think our fans are too smart. The response seems to have been really good. I hope they're as excited as I am, and it feels that way so far.
NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The Point.
I truly believe in 3 years, Jack Hughes will be worth $15 million a year. For $15 million a year, they got Hughes and Hischier locked up together. Those are two brilliant contracts, but there isn't a single area where I look at the Devils and think, okay, this is of concern to me. They're locked and loaded.
The Point with Boomer Gordon. Weekdays, 1 p.m. Eastern. NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
If you're a soccer fan, you know that this music means one thing. The Champions League is on Sirius XM FC.
Hat-trick for Erling Haaland. Kane scores!
The top teams from around Europe are battling for club soccer's holy grail.
Real Madrid do what they do best. What a start for Inter!
Hear all the top Champions League matches all tournament long on Sirius XM FC 157 and streaming on the Sirius XM app.
The best hockey lives here.
Burns gets it back. Stick handles to the backhand. Moves in front. Score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
You're listening to the Intermission Show on the home of the blue and white on the Leafs Radio Network. Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey is on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network. The Leafs
There's a
live
chance,
here.
Marner! Scoops it up, finds it, and makes exact change. 1:53 remaining in the second. Leafs, go ahead.
Yes, they lead at 2-1 over Dallas after 40 minutes of play, and TSN after 40 minutes is delivered by 241 Pizza. 241 Pizza is taking it up a nacho with new 241 nachos and Irish nachos for just $9.99 each. Call 241-241. Jim Taddy and Frankie Corrado with you. What a strange period. I mean, the second period always has the long change, but boy, did the Leafs get their mileage on a lot of their players.
Jimmy, couple housekeeping things I want to get to before we get in the mileage out there. Number one, great to have you back. I was very worried that aliens were abducting you over there. Number two, shout out to Franco G up in Owen Sound. He listens to us every intermission. He's pumped we're back. And guess what? The Leafs are back too because Mitch Marner gets a massive goal after the Leafs weathered a storm there. Yes, Mason Marchment scores a goal and it comes off a shift where the fourth line gets hemmed in and they're not able to get off the ice. And Matthew Nyes has the puck on his stick, but he's so tired he can only clear it to the blue line. To be honest with you, for me, when Matthew Nyes gets that puck, he's got to take some strides and get that puck down into the offensive zone, just enough that he doesn't ice it, but so at least one defenseman can get off the ice. One defenseman is not able to get off the ice. Both guys get stuck out there. It's Liljegren, it's Giordano. It's way too easy for the Dallas Stars. And we saw what happens when you have five defensemen. They get caught out. It's a 1 minute shift here. It's a minute and a half shift there. Next thing you know, you don't have that extra guy on the bench to go out there and make three pairs so you can roll four guys and rest the guys that just got caught out there. So we saw that catching up to the Leafs. But Mitch Marner scores a massive goal, and you escape that period. You go back into the dressing room now up 2-1. That is very fortunate for a Leaf team that was not great in the second period.
Plus, once again, your goaltender became the story of the period, didn't he?
He did. He was outstanding. There's one save that Joseph Woll makes early in that second period, and I'm watching it thinking my groin hurts watching that. It was outstanding. And we're starting to understand a little more about this guy and how he plays in the net. There was a couple times Matt Duchene had one, Joe Pavelski had one, I think Rope Hintz had an opportunity, and they're in tight, and they're trying to jam things in. And essentially, Jimmy, he's basically saying no, guy. He's saying nothing is going to go in here along the ice. If you want to score a goal on me, you're going to have to elevate this puck. It's easier said than done when you're under pressure in and around the front of the net. But he does such a great job of taking away the low ice and making it difficult for shooters when they're in tight. I thought he was outstanding in that period, Joseph Woll. He saves, well, he makes 16 shots in that period for a total of 21 now for Dallas. And there were a number of opportunities where you're watching Dallas and you're thinking, man, they're getting in like prime scoring opportunities, and Joseph Woll, he had to stand his ground, and he did.
Well, we'll discuss it with our goaltending guy, Ralphie, at the end of the game. But the way if I said it was lateral movement, I would be misleading you. It's he's on one side of the net and he shoots the leg out. He must do exceptional groin exercises because he's able to extend that leg.
And you know what else it is, Jimmy? It's like there's times where it's a desperate situation in the net, but he doesn't look like he's acting desperate. It just looks like it's routine for him. Whereas some goaltenders, it's going to be very theatrical. It's going to be acrobatic. But for him, it's a desperate situation, but it's almost like he can go back to whatever kind of structure he has as a goaltender. I'm not going to sit here and pretend to tell you that I know what that is, but whatever structure he has in the net, it's like he just follows it and makes those big saves. You know what it kind of reminds me of? So as a player, you have low percentage plays, you have high percentage plays. Well, it's no different than a goaltender, right? Like you want to make high percentage plays as a goaltender, meaning like I'm not going to try and my save selection is not going to be something that is more than it has to be. You just do exactly what the situation calls for, and you square up to shooters, and the puck will hit you. So, I mean, Joseph Woll was really, really good in that period.
He certainly was. What you can testify to is what goes through your brain, or how do you have to fight through when you're tired? You have no gas left in the tank and you're stuck out on the ice. How do you weather that?
I'll put it to you this way, Jimmy. You remember those Snickers commercials with Danny DeVito? And I think the line was, "You're not you when you're hungry." Yeah. Well, when you're playing in the NHL and you're tired, you're not you. You're not you when you're tired, because, if your legs start to go and then your lungs start to go, the brain is not far off from that. And like, we're just meant as hockey players, the way we train, the way the game works, you're out there for 40 seconds. You don't have you probably got a minute in the tank if you really push it. Anything other than that, you're really in survival mode. And that's why I was talking about not having that extra defenseman. It's so important to not get caught out on those long shifts, because if you get caught out there for a minute and a half, you need a couple shifts to recover from that on the bench. The problem is they don't have that luxury because Jake McCabe is not in the game right now. We actually saw Timothy Liljegren go back to the bench in some pain in that period. Lucky for the Leafs, he was able to stay in the game. So it's one of those situations where you need your forwards to do a serious job for you. And to an extent, the Leafs forwards did that job because Mitch Marner gets a goal. Now you have a 2-1 lead. But they need a little more of that playing in the offensive zone. The Leafs' best players carrying the mail that way. That way this five-man unit doesn't get so stressed out here in the third period where the Dallas Stars on home ice are going to push for another goal.
Frankie C., it was great to be back with you, and maybe we'll cross our fingers for the post-game show. Maybe.
Yes, guy.
Okay, well said. 2-1 for the Leafs over the Dallas Stars after 40 minutes of play. Riley with his second and Marner with his second have the goals for the Leafs. We'll come back and wrap up the out-of-town scoreboard next. This is Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050, the iHeartRadio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuss shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian, Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
Want to be certain your reno goes right? Start with Pro Materials with CertainTeed Drywall. In fire resistant, water resistant, super durable, or soundproof and top quality insulation. Ceiling systems, premium shingles, and siding. Do it right with professional grade building materials from CertainTeed. Pro all the way.
Alpine News Network is here live with one of our superheroes.
I run at sonic speeds, but I'm not as quick as the fastest computer. And that's exactly what Sam needed. She runs an IT firm and needed an upgrade. Within 24 hours, she was approved for a business loan. After, I stuck around to play some online games. My legs might be fast, but my thumbs, even faster.
Own your home? Need a loan? Alpine Credits can help.
Alpine Credits, where homeowners get approved. Just for license 12616.
NHLshop.ca, the official online store of the National Hockey League. And Canada's largest selection of officially licensed NHL fan gear. With unique one-of-a-kind designs by Fanatics, Adidas, and all the latest styles for every NHL team. Don't miss out. Shop now and get today's special offer. NHLshop.ca, a Fanatics experience.
What do you do when you hear ads announcing sales on mattresses and sleep essentials?
50% off. Big sale now.
Head to Sleep Country. Our unmatched buying power means great prices on top brands. And with our unbeatable price guarantee, we'll beat competitors' prices by at least 5%. If you shop anywhere else, you're paying too much. Ask a Sleep Country sleep expert for details on our unbeatable price guarantee today. And start sleeping better now.
Noah for Medicine Hat writes, Dear Canadian Tire, it's time for upgrades around the house and some upgrades in my toolbox. Any recos? The right tools make all the difference. Cliche, I know, but I once tried to hang curtains without a stud finder. Swiss cheese walls. That's why Canadian Tire carries a wide selection of the tools you need from brands like Mastercraft, Maximum, DeWalt, Bosch, and Stanley. Get everything you need for fall home maintenance at Canada's store. Visit CanadianTire.ca or the flyer for our top deals this week.
The out-of-town scoreboard brought to you by Maple Toyota. Build your next dream Toyota at Maple Toyota and check out Maple Toyota's pre-owned inventory arriving daily. Guy, it's time to Toyota. Visit mapletoyota.com. Here's what we have in overtime. Ducks and Bruins are tied at 3. In the third period, it is the Flyers 4-2 over Minnesota. Also in the third, Islanders 3-2 over the Senators. At the end of the first, it is St. Louis 2-0 over Calgary. Also in the first, Rangers and Oilers are scoreless, and the rest of these are done. Canadiens got by the Blue Jackets 4-3 in overtime. Winnipeg 4-1 over Detroit. It was the Lightning 6-0 over the Sharks. Penguins shutting out the Avs 4-0, and it was the Hurricanes 3-2 over the Kraken in overtime. In our game, it's 2-1 for the Leafs over Dallas after 40 minutes of play. Oh, yes, guys, the third period is next. This is Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050, the iHeartRadio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
Vikings, psychos, frightful fun, monsters, werewolves, and things down under. 'Tis the season to be free. Run away, run away, run away now. 'Tis the season to be free. Run away, run away, run away now. Walking dead witches, goblins, slashers, creepy sounds, chanting, body snatchers. The season to be free.
Sirius XM Scream, your channel for Halloween. Tune into Channel 107 or the Sirius XM app.
In case you missed it, on NHL Network Radio.
The general manager of the Philadelphia Flyers, Danny Briere.
Have the fans been patient? What's their buy-in been for the rebuild?
I think the one thing we've done is we're trying to be transparent with our fans and be honest. And I think our fans are too smart. The response seems to have been really good. I hope they're as excited as I am, and it feels that way so far.
NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
If you're a soccer fan, you know that this music means one thing. The Champions League is on Sirius XM FC.
Hat-trick for Erling Haaland. Kane scores.
The top teams from around Europe are battling for club soccer's holy grail.
Real Madrid do what they do best. What a start for Inter.
Hear all the top Champions League matches all tournament long on Sirius XM SC 157 and streaming on the Sirius XM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind Ristolainen, walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM. Hockey lives here.
Suzuki sweeps it, there's a chance, rebound, Caulfield, shoots and scores!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
Join me, Scott Laughlin, and Gord Stellick, along with former NHLer Mike Johnson for NHL Morning Skate, weekday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
We're back here, the third period imminent, as the Leafs hold a 2-1 lead over the Dallas Stars. The Stars do a pile of work, a load, a giant amassing bit of business, and then still come out down a goal at the end of 40 minutes of play.
Yeah, the Leafs.
That's tough.
Yeah, thanks to Joseph Wall. I mean, certainly you give the Dallas Stars a lot of credit, but we talked about this during one of the commercial breaks. Nobody dominates 60 minutes. I mean, you're going to have your ebbs and flows of the game, and the Leafs were able to withstand the big push by the Dallas Stars in the second period. Dallas basically a no-show in the opening period with just 4 shots on goal. But they come out and dominate period number 2, and Joseph Wall gives up 1 after a long shift by the fourth line and a turnover. Ended up in the back of the net, but the Leafs' big players, Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner, chip in to combine for the second goal, and the Leafs 2-1 lead here into the third.
And the third is underway as the puck sent all the way down the ice. They'll come back here as the third period starts much the same way the first period did.
Yeah, a lot of whistles in the opening period. But one thing, the Dallas Stars, who come into this game with a 4-0-1 record, they have not trailed yet. Well, this is the first time they've trailed. Jake McCabe is going to make it back in the Leaf lineup. He only played 10 seconds. They were tied on one shift in the opening period. That's why you see the likes of Klingberg's numbers really climbing here. 17:06 for John Klingberg so far in this game, and Timothy Liljegren at 17:08. Morgan Riley at 18:58.
Giordano played that back into center, but they carry it back in. Marchman, who's had a couple of good shots on goal, gets a long one away there, but not much trouble for Joe Wall. Saw it the whole way.
Mason Marchman last year with the Dallas Stars, 12 goals in the season. I believe scored 2 in his first game of the year against the Nashville Predators, but only finished with 12. The year before he had 18 with the Florida Panthers when Florida was blowing most of the teams in the National Hockey League out of the building.
Decent start here in teams that you would expect. Boston, Vegas. As it comes back out into center ice. Duchesne. Stick knocked out of his hand, and it is picked up off the glass and right back out into center. Nylander trying to get to that one quick. It turns around and comes back the other way. Dadonov. Little backhander out front, and it got some folks to the edge of their seats in Dallas, but not much further. Trying to steal that away. Nylander.
And Nylander had an opportunity there, but I think he was absolutely gassed.
It comes down below, in behind the goal. Little wraparound opportunity. Tapper. Stopped. Here comes another one. Trying to center it back out, and that puck knocked down Wyatt Johnson with the opportunity he couldn't connect to. Right back in the near side corner. Stars recover it. Back through the middle. Here's Johnston. Drops it off for Ben. Gets it straight back, and Marner is able to steal it away. Coming back across the line, Gregor. He didn't have many opportunity there as they were trying to make a change behind him to do anything with the puck. He couldn't hold on to it either. Here they come again. A little tap through the middle. A little speed here from Holmberg. Takes the shot. Why not? As he had some support on the play from Reeves. But the puck goes up and out of play.
Dallas Stars, a couple of years ago when the NHL the Stanley Cup was presented in front of no fans. The Stars had gone to the Stanley Cup Finals and had a step back. But again, a lot of people are expecting them to really push Vegas and Edmonton as being a Stanley Cup finalist contender. And I think it all starts on goal. You've got the big shooter in Robertson up front. Joe Pavelski is ageless at 39 and still leading the team in scoring.
Well, and oftentimes you live in a bit of a cone of silence sometimes when you focus on your own team. There are lots of other teams going through, well, in fact, 31 every other year going through a lot of the same things. And I don't think it matters much if you don't find yourself in it in the final, or if you don't find yourself out of it in the second round or the third round or whatever. You're still not the final team.
Yep, 31 teams are upset with how the season ended, and I don't know if we're going to get a high sticking penalty here. It looked like David Kampf was clipped right in front of the Leaf bench. But I do, a brief discussion between the linesmen and the officials. Are we going to get a penalty here?
15:59.
All right, so this was, upon further review, going to be Yanni Hakanpää that is going to go off, and the Leafs will go to the power play here. And so often, when you look at success on the power play and specialty team, it's going to be Yanni Hakanpää that is going to go off, and the Leafs will go to the power play here. And so often, when you look at success on the power play and specialty teams, it's not necessarily how many you end up with, but when you get them. Oh yeah, this wasn't even close. As you see, you get the replay on it as David Kampf took one right in the schnoz. Little different look here in this power play. Max Domi out.
Takes the draw. Here's Nylander drawing down low, drops it off for Tavares. Back up high to the blue line. Tavares waiting for it back. Gets it back. Top of the circle. Goes down low below the goal line. Nylander there to pick it up and pushes along to Marner. They were back top of the circle. Goes down low below the goal line. Nylander there to pick it up and pushes along to Marner. They reverse it back up high. It comes. Klingberg plays it down along the boards. Trying to push it back up high to the line, but that one is right in between Nylander and Klingberg. They'll bring it back quick into the zone. They give back to Klingberg. Looks over to the far side for Nylander, but a bit of a roller. Nylander gets it under control, but cannot hang on to it as the Stars are able to get it back to the blue line and out. They'll get in a change of their penalty killers, and the Leafs will change out their moving parts too. Here's Matthews across the line, slowing it down, waiting for his help to arrive. High to the line. Nice. Back for Matthews. He's across the line, slowing it down, waiting for his help to arrive. High to the line. Nice. Back for Matthews. And he gets it back to Nyes. Reaches over and keeps it in on the extra effort. Long shot. Tipped. Scores. And that one is Bertuzzi on the tip at 5:08. And I'll tell you what.
That might have been one of the most spectacular keep-ins you'll ever see, as it was Matthew Nyes just was able to keep the puck in. When Austin Matthews poked the puck back towards Nyes, Nyes was heading to his right, and the puck went back the other way. Not exactly post to post for Matthews. Nyes was heading to his right, and the puck went back the other way. Not exactly post to post for Matthew Nyes. But he had to dive and recover and then bounce back up on his feet and get the puck to Morgan Rielly. And as Morgan Rielly's shot with Tyler Bertuzzi in front, and Bertuzzi redirects it past Wedgwood, and the Leafs on a power play that didn't do a whole lot scores a goal the old-fashioned way. And looks like the Leafs are back on the power play, or am I wrong on this?
No. Pops down into the corner. 5:08 the time of that one is.
They still have the power play time up.
Minute 35 left in that. Double minor. They
Play
still have
time up.
Minute 35 left in that. Double minor.
Oh, it was a double minor for a high stick, and there we go.
Comes back out into center. Here's Hintz, draws in, and he was looking at a short space that was available only briefly.
But Joseph Wall, he had to move for that. There's that little spot under the crossbar over the right shoulder of Wall, and he actually had to react to it to keep it out.
They'll move it back up through the middle. Cross the line, played low. Nylander trying to get after it, gets a stick on it to win that battle, gets some help along the way from Matthews, and he finds Nylander behind the goal. Just got a little bit beyond him, and it wobbles its way back up to Klingberg. Marner draws in, down low. Nylander looks cross ice, hangs on, wants options. Klingberg presents, and now Nylander under a little bit of trouble there, and the puck comes back the other way. 3-on-1, shorthanded opportunity, and it rolls on Dellandrea.
Boy, John Tavares might have got a little bit of a stick-on-stick slash in there to free the puck.
Brought down Matthews as he tried to re-enter the zone as they come back in one more time. And behind the goal it goes. Picked up by Nylander on the far side as they get some good shorthanded opportunities, but don't really come away with a shot.
And a 3-on-1 break. Tavares got back with a little stick-on-stick slash.
And we're back to 5-on-5. Cutting back across the line. Trying to hold his man off the boards. Holmberg comes in to investigate. Matthews moves it along. And Holmberg receives it on the backhand and then just eases it back into the Dallas zone. Toronto up 3-1. Bertuzzi, Marner, Riley with the goals. And that one is offside with 12:17 left to go in the third period. And you're listening to Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network.
Let's go, football fans.
This week on Let's Go with Tom Brady and Larry Fitzgerald and me, Jim Gray.
When I look at my career, I was able to do it every single year. Now, every game wasn't perfect, but every game was pretty good. I believe that if someone does make it as long as I made it with the degree of success, then I give them a lot of respect. It would be an unbelievable accomplishment.
Listen to Let's Go Monday night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern on NFL Radio Channel 88 and the Sirius XM app.
Let's go, baby.
Let's go. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
Sabres signed Rasmus Dahlin to an 8-year, that's the max, $11 million contract. This contract is more than Fox and Makar and McAvoy and Heiskanen and Hughes and Werenski. Are you telling me we couldn't have got this deal done for at least 10? Now, I like the guy, but he's not most of the guys that I just mentioned.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91 and the Sirius XM app.
Under review.
It's the argument I hear a lot of times. Well, those guys got better players around them. Gretzky was good, but he wasn't that good. Had all these good players around him. Hey, wait a minute. I don't buy that argument as a dismissal of a guy's importance because he's part of that dynamic. He's part of that equation. And to take him out invalidates the entire equation.
Under review with Mick Curran. Weekdays, 11 a.m. Eastern. NHL Network Radio. Sirius XM 91 and the Sirius XM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
The Leafs with a 3-1 lead in Dallas, having a successful road trip so far.
Yeah, didn't start out great with the loss in Florida to the Panthers. But then the Leafs, well, actually didn't start out great till probably midway through the third period in Tampa. Leafs were down 3-3, and then some magic between Max Domi and Matthew Nyes. Got the Leafs even before John Tavares won it in overtime.
Here's Camp dropping it back. Low shot, glove, and hung on to by Wedgwood.
And even the win against the Washington Capitals, I'm not sure I saw it the same way, nor does it matter. But Sheldon Keefe was not happy with the way they played. He said we didn't have a great game. but still found a way to win it 4-1. Backed by the great goaltending Joseph Wall. Boy, Wall coming into this game, numbers were pretty impressive, and they're getting even better. 1.44 goals against average coming in, and a save percentage of .958, and it's gotten better.
He's doing a pretty good job in the faceoff circle as well. They'll get another opportunity here as they're almost 60%.
Yeah, that's really been sort of a
opportunity here as they're almost 60%.
Yeah, that's really been sort of a concern. They've been games halfway through the game, they'd be 38, 39%. And last year, they were in the top 5 face-off proficiency. And you don't think it would make a big difference between 53% and 51%.
Yeah.
But it's huge over the course of a season.
Well, and just being able to do what you want off that draw is in just 5 or 6 extra opportunities. I don't think anybody would argue that even if your analytics bound and determined that you would say, hey, you got 5, 6 opportunities, take them.
Yep. Yeah. Well, and then, a lot of it, too, is situational. How many face-offs do you win in the power play where you can control the puck in the zone? Or, on the other side of that, on the penalty kill, you win the draw, you ice the puck, you kill some time off. That's when you have to start to break it down by zone and by situation.
There's a face-off that the Stars are able to control as they come back down the left wing. Lifted down into the zone. Dadonov going after, but Riley gets there first, and it's pried off the boards and quick back the other way. Nylander and Tavares, who sends it in. Nylander comes after it along the near side wall. Klingberg. Bertuzzi steals it away. Long shot, and Nylander tried to uncouple himself there to get a backhand away, but could not quite. And it is back high to the line. That one is mishandled. Thomas Harley has to come all the way back and set up again. He trying to make good on it by carrying it in himself, and then finds himself drawing a penalty.
Yeah, we got a hooking penalty coming up. And is it going to be Yarnhook? No. John Klingberg is going to go to the box.
Seemingly amused by
and this is
the
where,
call.
As we mentioned, Jake McCabe only played 10 seconds in this game, and this is where it gets a little tough on the defenseman when the defenseman takes a penalty as well, so you're down to 4. It was that, and you know what? It was John Tavares that hooked.
That's why he's amused.
Yeah, it was a hooking penalty, but it was actually John Tavares' stick that did the hook rather than Klingberg, but at least down to 4 defensemen now.
He was near him. Sometimes that seems like it's enough, I guess.
High goes to the defenseman.
Power play here for the Stars. A puck whipped at the goal, but doesn't get very far, and into the corner it rolls on the stick side of Joseph Wall. Little poke up the boards. Camp tries to move it. It's back to the blue line, but not out. Long shot here in the feet and cleared away, but not out of the zone. Down low into the corner, far side, pops back to the blue line. Looking for that one time was Pavelski, and now Marner gets it and decides to send it right in on goal. He'll keep going after it and actually come away with it on the far side. And Mitch Marner is doing a pretty good job here of hanging on to the puck. He tried to send it back up ice to buy some time. He's still with it, however. Back out of the corner, cutting back out front. Great opportunity for Pavelski, but he couldn't drop it. And the puck is cleared down the ice.
And that all starts when Mitch Marner, who did such a great job of controlling the puck, tried to throw the puck back into his own end to Morgan Riley. He got picked off, and Dallas came in and got the scoring chance.
Marchment puts it back to the line, waiting on a little hard shot. Great block there. As it comes back to Marchment, he's got the lone goal for the Dallas Stars. It pops loose. Now here's a chance right back the other way. Gregor tried the shot, but good defensive play keeps it from being dangerous. 15 seconds left to go in the power play. Over the far side it goes. It comes funny off the boards, and it gives Matthew Nyes the puck. And he sends it down low, happy enough to waste the time that's needed. A couple of more seconds involved in just that. Jarnkrok tries to get a hold of it. And the Stars, with 9 minutes left to go, see their power play opportunity evaporate. Along the boards, back up to the point. Still controlling the puck, but not for long. Good feet, good touch. Gets it back out. Cross the line, they're going to have to vacate. It would be offside. And here come the Stars again. Faxa out front, but no harm as it slides through the other side. Long shot. Wall plays it nicely. Rebound comes back out. And that turn goes high and into the glass. Back up high to the blue line it comes. Harley, side of the goal. Wall gave it a little bit of a touch, I think, and into the corner. Dragging for it, Reeves. Trying to get touch on that puck and force it back outside the blue line. 8:08 left to play. Third period. Leafs up 3-1. We'll push back up the boards. It doesn't get very far. Klingberg, as it just slides in a little bit of a snow along the edge of the far boards, and it's picked up along the near side. And now here's Klingberg again as he sends it back out into center, hoping Reeves can do something with it. And the Leafs trying to make a change here. Puck out front, great chance. Wall comes up with the save. What an opportunity for the Stars. How to be better, how to be Joe Wall.
And Rupe Hintz was the Dallas player that was wide open as the Leafs got caught. The puck bounced right in front of the Leaf bench as they were trying to change. And they were more concerned with getting the right number of guys back on the ice than they were with their coverage. And Rupe Hintz picks up the puck in the high slot and has a direct lane to Joseph Wall. Shot attempts are 62-47 for Dallas. And for Joseph Wall, that is save number 27 on the night.
That was a huge one, and you come up with a big save at the right time, and the second half of the third period certainly feels like exactly the right time. Comes back to the blue line, played down low. Nylander goes into the corner after it in the Stars zone. Knocked to the ice, Hannes Holmberg in the mix. Along the near boards it comes. Turning back, Suter. Less than 7 minutes to play. Leafs with a 2-goal lead. Back into the Toronto zone. Played back behind the goal and up and not out of the zone. The Stars are able to keep it in. Morgan Riley looking for the puck. And Joe Wall wanted to get his paw on that one, but they took it away. And now off into the corner, they'll get an opportunity to break it out of the zone. Coming down the left wing, and then Riley just sends it down deep. Bertuzzi after it there. Puck comes a little bit loose. Bertuzzi has to do some extra work to kick it back along and find the rest of the handle of it. Turning around, firing a shot at the goal, but Wedgwood wise to it. Ben moves it back out into center ice. Here come the Stars, 3 wide. And the puck, bad pass behind Johnston. Looking for it back up high. Got some tired legs out here, I think, for the Leafs on a bit of an extended shift. Bertuzzi, who was out on that rush. Now it comes back through the middle. Kampf, got some fresh legs, and Matthew Nyes even more so. Flip back out. Nyes trying to chase down that puck. Comes down the left side. Puck along the near side wall. Peeling it off there and trying to force his way back inside was Duchesne. It was cut off, and now Klingberg works back in the opposite direction. Sends it down into the corner. Domi tries to get in on some extra work, and Nyes sees it pop loose, steps in front, picks it off the boards, and tries to force it back down low. Out front it comes. Matthews was right there, but a solid piece of work from Wedgwood. And across the line early on the offside.
Austin Matthews ends up wide open in front of the Dallas net, but with his back to Wedgwood. And Matthews tries to go between his legs and flip it up over the right pad, but couldn't get it to go.
What a save. You're listening to Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network.
Want to be certain your reno goes right? Start with Pro Materials with CertainTeed Drywall. In fire resistant, water resistant, super durable, or soundproof and top quality insulation. Ceiling systems, premium shingles, and siding. Do it right with professional grade building materials from CertainTeed. Pro all the way.
You've heard that sound before. A basketball going off the backboard and in. A bank shot. Well, that's actually the sound of a fan winning a Raptors jersey. That's the sound of a fan getting a signed Raptors basketball. And that's a fan scoring tickets to the NBA Finals. With the Tangerine Bank Shot contest, every bank shot the Raptors score this season wins a fan a prize. Enter for a chance to win at tangerine.ca/bankshot. Tangerine, that's forward banking.
All right, everyone. Step up and down. Left foot, right foot. You're climbing up a trail. Now back in your Subaru with symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and getting active in the real world. Work those abs. Driving right through the mud and left and right. Keep that core engaged and bend at the knees as you load more to your Subaru. Windows down. Take in that outdoor air and park.
Get more value out of every kilometer at your local Subaru dealer, starting with award-winning safety.
William Nylander having himself a decent game in this one, but the entire cast has come to play.
Nylander, especially in the opening period, Nylander was by far the most noticeable player, and the great setup in the opening goal of the game from Nylander, a little curl, and found Morgan Riley off the back post.
Face off just outside the blue line of Toronto. They carry it back in and reaching for it, Yarncroke. He is cross-checked down to the ground as Matthews tries to pick it up on the far side. It is lifted down towards Yarncroke again. Matthews trying to cut it off, and at the blue line, it hops over his stick. He'll play it right back down deep. Stars turn it back around, trying to create a little speed through the middle. Thomas Harley. And
oh, boy. Tyler Bertuzzi tried to turn and fire the puck out of the zone.
And he cut Dellandrea. And he is doubled over in some pain as he is on his feet, heading back to the bench. Trainer came out to take a look. Oh, yeah.
Got him right in the jaw, left side of the face. And Bertuzzi knew right away as he bent over and tried to check the Dallas player.
Wow, that's recognition, too. Anybody who's ever caught a puck, it doesn't matter necessarily where it is, but catching it off the chin. That's a tough one. Back in the days when, you can barely believe it, back in the days when goalies didn't wear masks. What in the world what somebody was thinking there? This is what I'm going to do for a living. I'll put my face in the way of this frozen piece of rubber.
No, even think of players not wearing a helmet now, or even a visor.
Yeah.
Hard to comprehend.
Well, and it was, resistance was futile, but the resistance was there for a long time.
Yeah, the Stars go offside. 3:48 to go here with the Leafs leading 3-1 late the third period.
You're listening to Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network.
It's Mad Dog Unleashed with Christopher Mad Dog Russo. Hear the passion.
Be aggressive. Get something done.
Hear the knowledge.
The game, folks, is about two plays. And that's what it comes down to.
Hear the personality.
I'm going to start here in an angry mood. Get somebody on the radio!
That has made him a sports talk legend.
Does that make any sense to you? Drives you crazy.
It's Mad Dog Unleashed with Christopher Russo. Weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern on Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82, or anytime on the Sirius XM app.
In case you missed it, on NHL Network Radio.
The general manager of the Philadelphia Flyers, Danny
Briere, have the fans been patient? What's their buy-in been for the rebuild?
I think the one thing we've done is we're trying to be transparent with our fans and be honest. I think our fans are too smart. The response seems to have been really good. I hope they're as excited as I am, and it feels that way so far.
NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
If you're a soccer fan, you know that this music means one thing. The Champions League is on Sirius XM FC.
Hat-trick for Erling Haaland. Kane scores!
The top teams from around Europe are battling for club soccer's holy grail.
Real Madrid do what they do best. What a start for Inter!
Hear all the top Champions League matches all tournament long on Sirius XM FC 157 and streaming on the Sirius XM app.
Hi, this is Ray Hudson, and for all the biggest matches from club soccer's holy grail, the UEFA Champions League, tune in to Sirius XM FC 157.
It is a coaching game that I think if you're Sheldon Keefe, you prefer this kind of game, regardless of how kind of that second period may have turned out. Here's Ben to the goal. The rebound is cleared back to the blue line. Now drawing it down low into the corner. Back up high. Shot.
By the way, empty net for Dallas in a quick count of 6 stars on the ice.
And Matthew Nyes legging out the puck as he tries to get a little help from Domi behind the goal. As this line tries to seal it up here. Leafs up 3-1 with a little over 3 minutes to go, and the net empty for the Dallas Stars. Lifted deep. Giordano turns around and flips it all the way down the ice. That one will come back on the icing call.
Well, he got a lot on that, though, didn't he? It was just a little snapshot, but he tipped it.
He did.
Pretty big rebound off the backboards, but Dallas back down first to get the icing call. 2:58 to go here in the third period. Goaltender Wedgwood on the bench, and the Leafs holding on to a 3-1 lead despite being outshot 29-23. Paul hasn't been as busy here in the third period as he was in the second, but that save off Rupe Hintz will go down as maybe a game changer.
Harley high on the blue line. Passes it over. 6-on-5 here, but a misplay at the blue line. And the Leafs attack. They come back over Faxa, and it is lifted back down the ice. They're trying to put a little less on that, but
I tell you, there aren't many curlers in this group.
No.
Kind of stop that in the face-off down the other end, but Stars will make a change here. Kelly Yarncroc with a big smile on his face. Why Sheldon Keefe has to keep his group out. Well, you can see where David Kampf got the high stick earlier. Big red welt on his chin.
On the left side of his chin, and now they win it back, the Stars do, to the blue line, moving it back over to the far side. They set up. Long one into the corner. They attack it back behind the goal, turn around, long one all the way back down the ice, and we'll do this just one more time. As
got nobody with the Leaf bench yelling hurry hard on these.
No.
These again, but the Leafs, that's the difference between having a 1 or 2 goal lead and the late going. You don't mind taking those additional icing calls when you're up by a couple.
Honestly, the toughest game on road trips, I think, is always the next one. It's that last one. You're already home sometimes, and those are the tough ones to get. But closing out this one is on the mind of Toronto fans. They got it up 3-1 back across the line, but Ben keeps it down low, chasing it to the far side. Some good wheel here from the Leafs. Yarncroc pushes it back inside the Dallas zone. A couple of changes there for the Leafs as Heiskanen plays it right back in. Into the corner and along the wall. The battle for it there. Picked up as it comes back to the point. Left side, right side. Over along the far wall, looking for any opportunity to load up out front of Joseph Wall. In tight, And that is off the glass, but boy, it looked like it was coming right at you.
Yeah, that was Mitch Marner that just was probably 3 inches from putting it into the stands and putting the Leafs down a man.
Lifted all the way down the ice. We'll do icing just one more time. Well, it may be just one more, but
we'll see. 1:19 to go here in the third period. 3-1 Leafs. Morgan Riley opened the scoring for the Leafs in the first. Mitch Marner regained the lead in the second period to make it 2-1, and then Tyler Bertuzzi redirecting a thigh-high Morgan Riley shot as the Leafs up 2 here late in the third.
Off the draw, Liljegren can't get his stick loose, but Marner does, and he pushes it back down the wall, and that has good weight on it as they retreat back into their own end. Here come the Stars down the left side. Into the corner, trying to throw one at Wall. Doesn't get through the defense of the Leafs. Last minute of play here in the third period as it's played back out into center, into a good spot, actually.
Oh, yeah, this was a smart play by Marner. Instead of trying to go down the ice, he just goes off the far boards and bounces it inside the Dallas line.
If you can. Tavares, that one, a little bit of trouble for Brody. Stars overload the position. Marchman in there, scraping away, trying to pick it up. Wyatt Johnston over the far side. A little bit of space to think about things. Back up high to the blue line one time, and that skips high and into the glass. There's another chance. Loose puck and cleared. Back down the ice, and it just misses the empty net at the other end with 17.6 seconds left to go in the third period.
Well, another big stop by Joseph Wall to keep this at 3-1. You know, we've sung his praises since the start of this game, and he came in with some great numbers. And right now, those numbers keep getting better. I don't know how much lower you can go. I mean, if he gives up 2 goals in a game, we're going to think he's in a slump.
And John Tavares sends it down the ice to take the 8:15 into the city. Taking care of business as John Tavares makes it 4-1 with 10.3 seconds left to go. And the Leafs are going to win this one.
For John Tavares, that'll extend his point streak to start the season. It starts with Tavares putting the ball or the face off to the right wing boards and then going after it. Willie Nylander might pick up an assist on this as well. Todd Nylander assisted on the Morgan Riley goal to extend his point streak to 7, and John Tavares now with his 4th of the year has done the same thing. It's right now they've got it as unassisted.
Well, it's a game that I think, as I said, I think Sheldon Keefe comes away from this one thinking that this team did what they needed to do in front of a goaltender who did exactly what they're hoping he can do.
Yeah, I think on one side, Sheldon Keefe is going to say we gave up too many clear-cut opportunities. You go back to the save that Joseph Wall made on Robertson in the second period when Robertson was all alone after the Leafs had turned the puck over, and then the horrible line change when everybody got caught and Rupe Hintz walked in alone on Joseph Wall in the third. I mean, he scores there. All of a sudden, it's a 3-2 game, and you got plenty of time left to try to force the Leafs into overtime. But again, who comes through for them offensively? You know, it's the big guys that come through. They get the key saves when they need them, and give the defense score a pat in the back as well. Jake McCabe only plays 10 seconds in this hockey game, so 5 guys had to eat up some additional minutes, and they only give up a goal. Like we said, I mean, they gave up some great opportunities to a pretty dangerous team. But when it's said and done, the big boys came through, and you got the goaltending, and that was pretty much the recipe that the Leafs had in Washington Tuesday night.
Well, last time I checked, that's what the paychecks are for.
Yeah, I remember when Pat Quinn used to hear some criticism about they played too wide open, and they relied too heavily on Curtis Joseph, and they trade chances, and they go end-to-end, and Pat Quinn said, if Curtis Joseph is one of the best in the league, why don't we use that to our advantage? Let's go end-to-end, and let's exchange chances.
Sure.
I think we've got an advantage, and certainly if you look at the career of Curtis Joseph and Pat Quinn, for that matter,
too true.
I'd say they were both right.
I'm going to agree with you, Jim. I'm too intimidated to do otherwise.
Yeah, I'll start throwing stats and everything.
No, let's not start that.
Anyway, thanks, Todd Boy, for filling in as Joey Bowen got acknowledged into the Ontario Sports Hall of Fame tonight, receiving the Brian Williams Award in the sports media category. So, but appreciate you filling in as you have before.
As always.
And I think your record's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't think we've lost one yet. If I had to guess.
What are you doing for the playoffs?
Off the top of my head. 4-1 the final score as the Leafs come away with the victory in Dallas and handing the Stars their first outright regulation loss.
Yeah, the only other loss was the shootout loss in Vegas. So first regulation loss, first loss at home this season. And like we said, this is a team that's been talked about, staying in the mix with the likes of Colorado, Vegas, and Edmonton as being a team that could do some damage in the postseason.
Now, it's a long way away and a lot of road to travel to that point. But a win tonight certainly goes a long way to put some energy in the legs. And stick around. The postgame show coming up. Our congratulations, my congratulations anyway, to Joe Bowen and the Brian Williams Award that he picks up with the Ontario Sports Hall of Fame. He'll be back Saturday right here in the Leafs chair. Not right here.
Well, unless he thinks he's so big now he doesn't have to do every game. He can do like Gretzky does on TV.
Only calling the international stuff. Yeah. Thank you for listening to Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network. Stick around for Jim and Frankie postgame.
We are 7 weeks into the fantasy football season, and whether your team is in the race or ready to make the greatest comeback ever, Fantasy Sports Radio is ready to take you there.
It's more rewarding when you lose your first-round pick and you find a way to win anyway.
From start-sit advice to waiver pickups to so much more.
Zero concerns about Jalen Waddle. Stop complaining. Enjoy the fantasy points that are about to come.
Showtime! Make your move with Fantasy Sports Radio. Channel 87 and on the Sirius XM app.
NHL Morning Skate.
Hall of Fame defenseman Chris Pronger.
You look at rest and recovery now, that whole mindset has shifted tremendously from when I first came to the league in 93. So, there's a lot of pros and cons to everything. But overall, when you look at the skill level of the player and the speed of the game, it's certainly gone to another level.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick. Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. In case you missed it on NHL Network Radio.
The general manager of the Philadelphia Flyers, Danny Briere. Have the fans been patient? What's their buy-in been for the rebuild?
I think the one thing we've done is we're trying to be transparent with our fans and be honest. And I think our fans are too smart. The response seems to have been really good. I hope they're as excited as I am, and it feels that way so far.
NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
Sabres signed Rasmus Dahlin to an 8-year, that's the max, $11 million contract. This contract is more than Fox and Makar and McAvoy and Heiskanen and Hughes and Werenski. Are you telling me we couldn't have got this deal done for at least 10? Now, I like the guy, but he's not most of the guys that I just mentioned.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. Under review.
It's the argument I hear a lot of times. Well, those guys got better players around them. Gretzky was good, but he wasn't that good. Had all these good players around him. Hey, wait a minute. I don't buy that argument as a dismissal of a guy's importance because he's part of that dynamic. He's part of that equation. And to take him out invalidates the entire equation.
Under review with Mick Curran. Weekdays, 11 a.m. Eastern. NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The Point.
I truly believe in 3 years, Jack Hughes will be worth $15 million a year. For $15 million a year, they got Hughes and Hischier locked up together. Those are two brilliant contracts. But there isn't a single area where I look at the Devils and think, okay, this is of concern to me. They're locked and loaded.
The Point with Boomer Gordon. Weekdays 1 p.m. Eastern. NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
This is Leafs Game Night. on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network. The Leafs live here.
Long shot, tipped, scores. And that one is Bertuzzi on the tip at 5:08.
That was the 3-1 goal en route to a 4-1 win by the Maple Leafs in Dallas tonight. Todd Crocker on the call as Ponesy gets honored by the Ontario Sports Hall of Fame. So nice job by Todd to fill in. Welcome to Leafs Game Night. Jim Taddy, Frankie Corrado with you, and Jimmy Ralph hanging around to analyze what happened tonight. And Ralphie, I mean, if you looked at the scorecard, obviously they're 3-1 on the road trip, so they're going to win that. You've 2 4-1 wins in a row and the 4-3 overtime win in Tampa. And if you were trying to explain to somebody who had been on a trip somewhere and they saw those 4-1 scores, they would go, oh, those are dominating performances. Well, they were by the goaltender both times.
Yeah, I mean, I thought, at least in the first period, Dallas had 4 shots in the first period, and you thought, okay, well, Wall was solid, but, he's got to think he's playing in a different league that he played in Washington. And then Dallas, as most teams or good teams in the league will do, they started to push the pace in the second period, and the Leafs, I think, really guilty of turning the puck over. The fourth line, or most of the fourth line, got caught out in a really long shift that led to the Dallas goal. But, yeah, you circle certain moments. Robertson's chance in the second when he was in all alone, and then the save off Hintz in the third. I mean, those go in, and it changes the entire complexion of the game. And, sometimes, and Frankie and I have had this conversation, sometimes you just need your goaltender not to give up a bad one. Just be solid. Yeah. You don't have to be spectacular. Just don't give up that one that's going to suck the life out of the bench. And but back-to-back starts, and let's throw in the relief appearance that Wall had in Tampa. He had a lot of moments where he had to be spectacular to keep them in. And when you've got the big guys scoring and your goaltender's great, that's a pretty good formula.
And it's a great night for Joseph Woll. He faces 32 shots, only lets in 1 goal, Ralphie. And, you see a performance like that. Like, the thing that I like is anything that's in and around that goal mouth area, it seems like he covers so much of what's low on the ice. And we saw it like Rope Hintz tries in the third period to slide 1 5-hole, nothing happening there. Like, there was a few times I think Duchesne was in tight. He didn't have anything low on the ice. It just seems like he's making it very difficult for shooters in good scoring locations to find ways to score goals. There's just not a lot of holes in the guy.
No, and I think what I really like about him, Frankie, is the fact that he's so square to the shooter. It's not one of those, the reverse VH, where he's going to give you the short side, from the face-off dot. When you get below the circle, I'm going to give you the short side. I'm going to square up to the middle of the ice just in case. He squares up to the puck, from bad angles, sharp angles, point shots. And, that's part of what you love about what he brings to the table. It's just the fact that, he tracks the puck exceptionally well, but his positioning is spot on. It is probably as impressive as the agility and the athleticism and everything else. His positioning, I think, is something that you really have to admire.
Well, and so what do you do now with the goalie schedule? Like, I feel like to finish this trip, you're going to go with Samsonov. You've already made the most of what you're going to make of this road trip. Whatever happens in Nashville, to me, is gravy. If you win, if you lose, it's not the end of the world. But, they had a certain schedule that they wanted going into the season. My guess, it would probably have been Samsonov less than 50 games, probably in between 45 and 50 games, and Joseph Woll picking up the rest. It seems like now Woll is going to have some runway to carry the ball and run with it. But as far as getting Samsonov in the mix, how high of a priority would that be for you?
Well, I'm with you. I think you got to play him in Nashville. I don't think you want to, it's October. So I don't think it's one of those cases where you say, boy, we got to go with a hot guy. We need wins. I mean, I think you want to make sure that you have both guys ready. Like you saw with Jake McCabe, who only went 10 seconds tonight before being hurt. You don't want to start running with one guy in October and, run into injury problems between the pipes. As good as Martin Jones was in the preseason, I think you want Wall to enjoy this night, enjoy this time until you get back home. But if I'm Sheldon Keefe, you meet with the goaltenders and maybe Curtis McElhinney comes into the conversation, and you say, this is what's going to happen. Samsonov's going to play tonight. Wall will play the first game when we get home. I don't think you have to go beyond 2 games at a time. But I like the fact that, especially in the situation with Samsonov, you're saying, even tell him, and I don't know if that conversation happened, but you tell him today or yesterday, Wall's going to Dallas, you're going to Nashville. Regardless of the result of the game, that's my schedule for the goaltenders. And I think most guys appreciate that rather than going, the guy that's hot keeps playing. I think that's something you can do in March or April, but I don't know if I'm a fan of that in October.
Ralphie, back to Wall just for a second. I was talking in the second intermission and mentioned that I would ask you this. The way he slides, it could be either pad. When you're talking about lateral movement, there's the push up, but he's able to slide the leg to the far side. I mean, that's a flexibility most people don't have.
Yeah, or he's missing ligaments that most people have. It's one of the other. It's kind of that Gumby move that he goes down.
You had extra of those ligaments, Ralphie?
Well, actually, no. I actually still don't have the ACL, Frankie.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's.
I forgot about that.
You can't make fun of my excuse.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. It won't happen again.
It
won't happen again.
Sorry,
that's
guy.
my excuse. Unfortunately, the good leg isn't any good either. So that was the downfall. But you're right, Jimmer. Like he seals it off. There doesn't seem to be any space. So often you got a goaltender moving post to post, and there's that hole. There's something opens up, and he just seems to be able to seal it down. And the Jason Robertson chance in the second period, when it looked like he was going to be able to come around the corner and just swoop it around his right pad. I mean, not only did he get over, but he stayed square with him the entire time, which I thought was amazing, and sealed down the part of the net. And Robertson was in so close he couldn't elevate it. And you're going, you know what? He made this look easy, with that big push and squaring up and getting the pads sealed to the ice. And there's just so much. And then it's funny talking to Todd Crocker before. He said Joseph Wall owns a lot of records that are on the negative side with the Toronto Marlies. It came from his first year with the Marlies, that he really had a struggle and it was a tough time. And if you look through, his play over the last 4 or 5 years, he hasn't played a lot of games.
He's been hurt a lot, right?
Yeah, through injuries and everything else. So this has probably got a better feel-good story than we realize at this point, how far he's come. To be a guy that's not just playing in the National Hockey League, but in his opportunities, has been able to dominate it.
Well, another player that got an opportunity tonight, listen, Timothy Liljegren has had many opportunities throughout his tenure with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Seems like at times he looks like he puts it together, and there's times where maybe he goes back and plays on the third pair with Mark Giordano. We talked about this in the pregame, how, for Liljegren, now is kind of the time where Klingberg, we know what he is. He's going to be on the third pair. There's no going back to that for Liljegren because they got to shelter one of those guys. They can't shelter two of those guys. And you look at the ice time tonight, Liljegren 24:07 is just under Morgan Riley, who had 26:13. But as far as managing things in a tough game, it wasn't exactly a Picasso for the Leafs D with 5 guys. They got hemmed in their own zone a lot. There was some long shifts. I like the way he was able to kind of weather the storm. And at the end of the day, it's a 4-1 win. And you leave that game thinking, well, that guy was a part of the solution tonight. He wasn't a part of the problem.
No, and it's I'm going to test you guys. I think when the Leafs played Dallas last year, it might have been an afternoon game. And if I'm not mistaken, Matt Murray had a shutout, but there was a 5-on-3 for Dallas for the full 2 minutes. And I believe it was Timothy Liljegren and Justin Hall that were absolutely brilliant, blocking shots and intercepting passes on that 5-on-3. I don't know why I just said that, because now I'm going to have to go home and look it up, see if I was right or not.
Yeah, well, it was an afternoon game. I remember that.
And it was...
and we didn't do it, so there you go.
Well, I had to anyway. But it was just
Daddy's
thinking,
got the laminated schedule out. I know he scrambled. It's like it's somewhere under his desk. There's a million filing cabinets, and he found it all laminated.
Well, I mean, I just remember you talking about Timothy Liljegren in Dallas. I remember He and Justin Hall, I think, were almost out for the entire 2 minutes. Matt Murray was great, and the Leafs found a way to win. For some reason, I mean, how can you have success on a regular basis against Dallas and you get killed by Arizona every time you play? It doesn't make a lot of sense. But I'm with you where Liljegren, it's time to make that step into the top four and stay there. Like you said, you've got Klingberg. You want to manage Giordano's minutes better. It's going to be interesting to see what move the Leafs make if McCabe's going to be out for a spell. You would think Benoit would probably be the guy, Frankie, that would be the first call up.
I guess, so there's certain leagues you play in, Ralphie.
Yeah, I played in most of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you had this experience with the health insurance and some of the lower levels, but they call it the better than nothing plan. And I feel like bringing in Simon Benoit after what we saw in training camp, it's the better than nothing plan. Hey, we got a body. Let's put him in the line. I couldn't tell you. I really couldn't tell you who's the next best viable option as far as coming up, whether it's from the Marlies or Simon Benoit, who I don't even know if he's on this trip, but he's been the kind of the extra body, I guess, on the back end.
Yeah, although remember a year ago, I mean, when the Leafs ended up losing Muzzin early in the season and then Riley went down, it seemed like the blue line, you were losing somebody every second night. And that's when you had Victor Mete and Jordy Ben come up and get into the lineup, and you talked about how important it was for an organization to have depth on the blue line. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, I guess the guy you feel sorry for again the most is Connor Timmins, who if he wasn't going to be in the top six coming out of the training camp, he would most definitely be the next guy up.
Well, it goes to show you, right, how important your 7th and 8th defensemen are. 7th and 8th defenseman, very important. I have no agenda in bringing that up, none whatsoever.
We understand your pain, Guy. Two of the more creative assists in this game. Nylander's on the first goal was stunning, and the Nyes keeping at the point on the power play was one of the more creative second assists I've ever seen.
Yeah, and boy, could that have gone. I mean, if he doesn't get that,
yes.
I mean, there's like we saw in the only Dallas goal was a turnover ends up back in the net. But yeah, that was a scary moment, and I think it was just before that, wasn't it, guys, that the Leafs gave up a 3-on-1 on the power play, and John Tavares probably got away from it with a slashing penalty that broke up the play going back. So yeah, that was one of those plays that. Certainly could have been the TSN turning point. It was a keep in, but seconds later it's in the back of the net. And not only was it a kind of a spectacular play, because Nyes is starting to cut to his right and the puck comes to his left. So not only does he dive back and get it, man, he was up in a hurry to make the play back over to Morgan Riley, wasn't it? I mean, it was he looked like goalies in those goalie camps, the down and up drills. And he was great in it.
It's kind of like he has those quick hands and that fast twitch. It's like the dexterity that he has with his wrist movement just allowed him to keep that puck in. And the benefactor of it all is Tyler Bertuzzi, who gets his second goal of the season. And Jimmy and I were talking before the game. He kind of mentioned a couple players that he was watching tonight. One was Bertuzzi, one was Domi. Like, you want to see production out of them. You want to see them kind of get their game going in the right direction.
Now would you guys not agree that they were noticeable, that they've been better the last couple of games?
I 100%. I think it starts in Tampa for Domi. For
the
sure.
Third period in Tampa, yeah.
Yeah, it just felt like he really started attacking the game a little bit more. And I know even in Washington, the Morgan Riley power play goal, like a lot of that goes through Domi and I guess Liljegren. But, for Bertuzzi to get a goal tonight, like, I just think it's so important for guys. If you want to figure things out on a new team, it's a work in progress, but it's nice to have like just little accomplishments along the way, right? Like scoring a goal every once in a while keeps you engaged. And then at some point you're like, okay, I'm good. I'm ready to rock. Floodgates are opening, and you just find that groove. But you need those little ones, those little victories along the way.
And you know what you're totally amazed by is now, I mean, there aren't lines per se that stay together anymore. It's more twosomes for everyone. But you think how hard it must be to play with Matthews and Marner. I mean, in theory, you think it should be easy, that anybody could do it. But it took them a long time to find Michael Bunting and to put him on that line. I mean, they tried it. Remember, Joe Thornton was given that opportunity. You had, Nick Ritchie. When he first came in, they had all these guys that were kind of plugged in.
Wow.
And you thought it was the same thing with Bertuzzi, with Matthews and Marner. And yet now he's more noticeable playing with Tavares and Nylander. So it really seemed like the Nyes Domi thing came out of the necessity of the Leafs were down 2 goals in Tampa, and Nylander was moved up with Matthews and Marner. So you had to readjust all the other lines, and almost by accident, discover this chemistry between Domi and Matthew Nyes. So it's nice that you can sometimes luck out in finding chemistry, even though you may not have drawn it up on the board or had discussions about playing certain guys together.
Well, when you think of Matthews and Marner, I mean, first of all, the speed that they play at. Secondly, the speed that they think at. I mean, that's not everybody. That's a tough job description. I don't know exactly who that would be that you would keep there on a regular basis.
Yeah, well, I think the mentality is, and I think that goes. Now, mind you, Ritchie and Joe Thornton are completely different players. But it's that mentality of you just need a grinder, somebody that'll go to the net, get in on the forecheck, force pucks. But then the thing with Matthews and Marner is you got to figure out where they're going next. If the opposition doesn't know, you got to try to figure it out on your own in a hurry. I mean, a lot of people think you just go to the front of the net and whistle with your stick on the ice and they'll find you. But it's almost like you don't want to screw up this great Broadway musical. It's singing along. Just don't screw it up. Don't miss your cue. Just you're in the background. You're a background dancer. Just don't screw it up. But it's
that's kind of like working with Taddy.
Yeah,
hit the cymbal when you're asked.
Yeah, that's you got one job. Don't screw it up.
Well, and you know what? Like this Dallas team, there's high expectations for them, and they got off to a great start this year. They were 4-0-1 coming into this game. I wasn't impressed by anything that they did tonight. Like, I thought that was like a pretty lackluster performance. And if you're looking at it from a Leafs point of view, it was TCB, just taking care of business. That's all this game was. It was a means to an end. You find a way to win, and away you go. It's a greasy road victory. It's a long road trip. If you're Dallas, like if the Leafs had just played that game that the Dallas Stars played, we'd be talking about a lot of other issues, but that's not our problem to talk about tonight.
No, and I was talking to my buddy Daryl Ray, who does a great job doing color for the games in Dallas. And he said this afternoon, he said, the reason we're 4-0-1 is because of our goaltender, Ottinger. And he said, one of the things that Dallas has really struggled with is how they start games. And what do? They come out and only muster up 4 shots in the first period. So and we talked about this when they came back from a 2-goal deficit in the third against Montreal and won. They came back from 2 down against Tampa and won. It's amazing how many things that start early in the season become part of your DNA through 82 games. Mm-hmm. Whether it's blowing leads, whether it's coming back from multi-goal deficits, those things seem to start in October and can dictate how your season is going to go. So from a Dallas standpoint, I mean, my buddy Razor said they were struggling at the start of games and in the first period coming in. Well, they continued that, and the Leafs, fortunately, are getting away from the 4 or 5 goals against. Maybe thanks to more to one guy than everybody else, but at least they're starting to right that early season trend.
Ralphie, thanks for hanging around. Appreciate it.
I'll text you when I get home.
Good. I was concerned about that. Yeah. Keep your eyes on the road.
Hello,
Jimmy, before we go to break,
yes,
we got to give one more shout out. We got to give a shout out to our buddy Puffy up in Aurora. Drives home. He loves listening to you, myself, and Ralphie on the Postgame show. He told me how much he loves it. Shout out to Puffy.
All right,
Puffy, keep your eyes on the road.
Hey, I'm going that way. I'll meet him for a beer.
There you go.
Okay.
if he's got an expense card or something.
Oh, definitely on Puffy. Oh, not even a question.
Yeah, that's your appearance fee.
Thanks,
guys. You're a celebrity, minor celebrity.
4-1. You had to say minor. 4-1. The Leafs over the Dallas Stars. We'll come back and wrap it up further. This is Leafs Game Night on TSN 1050, the iHeartRadio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
Wheels on the bus go.
Do more in a reliable Subaru, they said. Enjoy more time together to go more places with symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive, they said. More award-winning safety for more peace of mind, but to listen to one song over and over again with fantastic acoustics. I love you, family, but the singing, nobody warned me about the singing.
Hurry to your local Subaru dealer and get more out of every kilometer this fall, including more karaoke.
Want to be certain your reno goes right? Start with Pro Materials with CertainTeed Drywall. In fire resistant, water resistant, super durable, or soundproof and top quality insulation. Ceiling systems, premium shingles, and siding. Do it right with professional grade building materials from CertainTeed. Pro all the way.
Alpine News Network is here live with one of our superheroes.
I don't want to say I'm a big deal, but I am a superhero. I love helping people consolidate their debts, and that's what I did for the Smiths. I took their bills and zoom, wha-bam, zap, turn them into one low monthly payment. No, the sound's not necessary, but it's part of the fun.
Own your home? Need a loan? Alpine Credits can help.
Alpine Credits, where homeowners get approved. Just for license 12616.
Leafs game night. Jim Taddy, Frank Corrado with you. 4-1. The Leafs win in Dallas. 3-1 on the road trip. It wraps up Saturday night in Nashville. And, Ralphie is gone, and we wish him well in the drive home. 5-2, the Leafs are. I was going to call you Ralphie's what I was doing there.
You think Ralphie listens to us? You think he listens to us when he gets in the car?
Oh, absolutely he does, yeah.
I hope so.
I don't know. 5-2 the Leafs are in the season, but does it feel like 5-2? That was my question.
You know what? I don't know if it feels like 5-2. I think a lot of that has to do with Joseph Woll and how he's played here and the saves that he's made. You can also attribute some of that to maybe the schedule. Listen, you start the season against Montreal, you throw in a game against Washington, whatever the case may be. But when you talk about good teams, Jimmy, like we talked about it with Vegas, with Boston last year, you know those teams that just they win games kind of no matter how the game shakes out? We always talk about that. They win in so many different ways. If they don't have their A game, if they have their B, whatever the case may be. Like it's okay for the Leafs to be 5-2 and winning games and not necessarily playing perfect hockey because as you know, throughout the course of an 82-game season, you're not going to have it for 82 games. Like the team, individually, you're just not going to have it every single night. So what do? You have to find a way to collect points, to win games, to stay in the mix in the standings. So at 5-2 here at the end of October, I have no problem with the way the Leafs have played. They're at a .714 winning percentage. I think like that's kind of been the MO of this team in the regular season. We know exactly what they are. They're going to be around a .700 winning percentage. They're going to be 105 to 100 and whatever, 111 points, let's say. And that's great. They're exactly what we thought they were with a blue line that is somewhat depleted compared to last year and a rookie goaltender who's on fire and playing great. Not to mention that the star players are filling the back of the net and scoring goals. So life is pretty good if you're a Leaf fan. I know it may not feel perfect, but you look at the circumstances, things are pretty good.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, it doesn't feel like 5-2, but for me, the schedule has to even out. 3 home games to start, 5 on the road. They come home and play 1 against the Kings, then go to Boston, and then are home for 4. You need some of that back and forth where, a couple games at home, couple on the road, where it sort of evens things out. At this point, I would just take the wins and bank them and no style points necessary. It's good to know that the backup goaltender has emerged as possibly the number one, and there are other items. The top 4 guys, the 4 forwards are doing a nice job, and other people are starting to fill in the blanks. And quite frankly, after 7 games, that's a good place to be.
Yes, Guy. And if we're looking down the stretch here, I know they're going to have Nashville, they're going to have L.A., but there's going to be some divisional games coming up. You have Boston, Buffalo, Tampa Bay, and Ottawa. Like, that's 4 divisional games in a row. And this Atlantic division, like, it's no joke. We're seeing the Ottawa Senators. They lost again tonight. Like, Buffalo's had their struggles. Tampa Bay's been up and down this year. This is the Leafs division to run away with. And I say that And I know we're going to get to April, and it's going to be the same old story where it's like the regular season, who cares? We knew they were going to be there. At the end of the day, all that matters is what they do now. But I truly do believe that the narrative you build up throughout the season somewhat defines what your team is going to look like at that time. And if they can be one of those teams, like we talk about with the elite teams in the NHL, where it's like no matter what you throw at them, they find a way to win the game, or they could play a different style of game, or if they don't have it some nights, someone's gonna show up and be hero. If you ask me tonight, the moment that kind of defines this game for me is the Mitch Marner goal. The Leafs were on their heels that whole second period. They were hemmed in their zone. The defense was so tired. Joseph Woll had to make a number of great saves in that period, but you leave that period with the lead, with a 1-goal lead, because Mitch Marner scores that goal. Like, I think that's so indicative of a team that can play it any way you want it, where they weather the storm, they bend, they don't break, and then they find a way to still have the upper hand on you going back into the dressing room. So it's a sign of good things to come, as long as things keep trending in the right direction, and there's still a few things that can be cleaned up along the way.
Yeah, bend but don't break is important. That was that long shift second period where they got caught a number of times, and to come out of that period with the lead, understanding that the goalie was sharp again, and then the Bertuzzi goal in the power play early in the third, that's a nice combo. Let's get some post-game sound. Morgan Riley on the tone set early.
Yeah, I think so. I think it starts with the first period. I think if we look at our previous games up until this point, I don't think we started the way that we want to. So I think that was probably the biggest difference from the start. And then as we got going, I thought we did a good job, especially in the third. So if we're able to kind of keep this going with our starts and we try to put ourselves in a good spot as opposed to playing from behind, I think it's going to help us.
Willie set you up on that goal. He and John actually have long scoring streaks going here. What do you like about Willie playing with Willie and John at the same time? Yeah, I mean, those two are doing a great job. I mean, if you look at their start to this season, it's been very impressive. They're obviously playing a good two-man game. They're kind of looking for one another, and they've got good chemistry right now. So when they're playing well, I mean, that's only good things for our team, and they've certainly been doing that. How does it feel for you to score in 2 straight? Yeah, it feels good. I mean, that one was all Will, so you get some credit. His pass was impressive, but how impressive is the work he did down low? He got in the 4-second strip with you guys. He's unreal. I think he's one of the best players in the world, and we're very lucky to have him. I mean, what he's able to do with the puck and his legs and the way he thinks the game and how he sees it is, he's up there in that top conversation.
You were down early in the game, you guys are down to 5 defensemen. When it happens earlier, is it easier to kind of adjust as the game goes along because you guys are kind of in that mix as long as you are? Yeah, you kind of get familiar with it, and it's not the easiest thing, but I thought as a group we did a good job. There comes a point in the game where you start to manage energy a little bit, and so I thought it's challenging when you lose a guy, but I mean, to your point, maybe it is a little easier right from the start, so you just know what you're in for. At this point, what more can you say about how dialed in Joseph seems to be? Yeah, he's been phenomenal. I mean, it's not like he's just making easy saves. He's making really difficult saves, beautiful saves in important times of the game against great players. He's really doing it all. So, we want him to keep rolling. So, as teammates, we want to try to make it a little bit easier on him. But he's doing an outstanding job for us. What do you think when he did the splits like that on Jason Robertson? I've seen that a couple times out of him. It's not something many people can do.
Morgan Riley, and quite frankly, Frankie C., quite frankly, Mr. C., when you look at Morgan Riley's road trip, it's been pretty good.
It's been very impressive, and I think Morgan Riley has kind of picked up where he left off to finish the playoffs last year. You go back, it wasn't a great season for him. He spent some time on the IR. He had that MCL issue. He comes back and just could never really find his footing throughout the rest of the year. But he was arguably the Leafs' best player in the playoffs. And, you look at him tonight, 26-13. He gets on the power play for just under 3 minutes. He plays shorthanded. Like when you're down a defenseman, you need someone to step up, and I thought a few people stepped up. Morgan Riley led the way for sure with a goal and an assist. He was great in Washington. He's just He's playing with that conviction that we saw in the playoffs, where it's almost like he's taken ownership of this decor and said, like, I am the number one guy, and I'm going to lead the charge here, going to lead the way. He's playing very responsible defensively. I don't know if his game is any quieter than it used to be, but I don't think it needs to be quieter. I just think it needs to be efficient and pick his spots at the right times. And I think when Morgan Rielly is doing that, at the end of the night, you sit there and say, I noticed Rielly because he had the puck, because he had maybe a couple shots on net. I didn't notice him for anything bad. And that's when Morgan Rielly's playing his best hockey. And, with 5 defensemen tonight, he stepped up. Liljegren, for me, did a really nice job tonight. And going back to his old roots here, John Klingberg, take a look at the time on ice, just under 24 minutes. He plays 4 minutes on the power play, but you needed to rely on a guy like that at 5-on-5 without Jake McCabe, with Mark Giordano playing 18 minutes. Like, John Klingberg really stepped up tonight and shored up whatever kind of defensive inefficiencies he has. And so for me, there's 3 guys that on the blue line you can say had performances that were not above their weight class, but gave you a little something extra on a road game where you really needed a win to kind of make the road trip a positive without having to go to the last game to make it a positive.
Well, and as you were talking about Morgan Rielly, I suddenly did sort of in my brain, while I'm listening to you, going back to a year ago when he walked into that injury situation, and 2 guys really for the first 7 games that jump off the page because they're healthy, Austin Matthews and Morgan Rielly. That's a big difference, isn't it?
All right, listen, it's your number 1 center and your number 1 player in Austin Matthews, and it's your number 1 defenseman. So, of course, it's a really big deal. And, guys like that can get by playing hurt or not playing at 100%. But for them to be at the top of their game where we know they're supposed to dominate, it's just not in the cards when you're hurt. You can do it for a short stint, like in the playoffs. You know the expiration date on a playoffs. It's like you're fighting for your life every day. You can get by. But for an 82-game season, when the light at the end of the tunnel is in April, it's very difficult to be at the top of your game when there's certain things ailing you. And for both those guys, Austin Matthews has been outstanding. He picks up an assist tonight in 20 minutes of ice time. He didn't play shorthanded tonight. Only 5 seconds of shorthanded ice time for Austin Matthews. I actually like him shorthanded. I think for a guy that's just kind of getting his bearings doing it, I've had no issues with him playing shorthanded, but he's 5-21 on the power play tonight. And, maybe a quieter game by Matthews' standards compared to what he's done to start the season. 2 hat tricks and scores a nice goal against Washington. But when Marner picks up his game a little bit more, when Nylander is playing as dominant as he is, when Tavares is playing as strong as he is, you can get by without Matthews having to take over the game and take it over shift by shift. So it comes back to what we were talking about when we came back from break after talking to Ralphie. It's like different guys can step up at different times, and the team can find ways to win games different ways. So it's all part of, Matthews being healthy, Rielly being healthy, getting some great performances from some other guys, including the goaltender. It's all part of this package that's very encouraging for Leafs fans.
Well, let's talk about the goaltender. And you heard Morgan Rielly, allude to what we were talking about how he's able to slide the leg to the long side, and as Ralphie detailed, maybe without some ligaments, or has the ultimate stretching exercise. I can't recall ever seeing anybody do that with that kind of ease. I mean, that's a groin pull looking for a place to happen on most people, but apparently not on this guy.
Yeah, I mean, there has to have been goaltenders over the years that have been able to move like that. I don't think he's reinventing the wheel.
I mean, that leg just sort of slides out. I go, okay. I don't know that I've seen that.
Okay, so not to compare the two, but Andrei Vasilevsky. Okay, he's one of those guys where he takes away so much of the bottom of the net, right? And you know how sometimes when you're talking baseball, there's certain pitchers, I believe this is the terminology they use, Jimmy, correct me if I'm wrong. They reach back for a little bit more, the pitcher. So they reach back for a little bit more because they want a little more velocity on the pitch. Am I right there?
I guess so. I've never thrown a pitch in my life.
Okay, well, you're the expert, but with the goaltender, with Joseph Woll and Vasilevsky, it was like he could stretch out for just a little bit more. It's like he had a little extra on the stretch out. I think Joseph Woll is comparable in that regard, where he's low, he's taken away most of the net, and like Robertson, he thought he had him, and like the pitcher who reaches back for a little bit more to grab a little more velocity on the pitch, he reaches out for a little bit more on the stretch, takes away that extra, 4 to 6 inches of the bottom of the net, and now you don't score a goal. It's very impressive. And you know what? Like, I know we talked to Ralphie about Joseph Woll, but another thing is the times where he can look very desperate in the net and you think it's got to be this big acrobatic kind of theatrical save, it's like it's not. The guy's he's very good technically, and it's an athletic situation, but he just kind of falls back onto what his structure is in net, and he makes it look easy, but it was actually a very desperate situation in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, I think they call that he's a pro. He's a pro's pro.
He's what they call a pro's pro. I believe they call you that as well. So you and Joseph Woll cut from the same cloth. Both pros.
I can't do that with my leg, though. I've tried it. I'm cramped up. But anyway, here's Joseph Woll on how he felt on the ice tonight.
Pretty good. It's a really good team over there, and haven't lost in regulation yet. So I think that was, a big win for us. And playing a Stanley Cup contender like that, and I thought we came out in the first and played really hard, and then shut it down pretty well in the third.
There's a shot Harley had in the first. Did that hit the top of your stick when you came over there?
Yeah, a bit of a prayer save, but yeah, I think I got a little piece of it from the top of my stick, so it was a good knob save.
Is that a luck still? I mean, you have to put yourself in position there. Like, how do you see it?
Yeah, it's probably more luck than kind of throwing everything I got over there, and then happens to hit it, so I'll take it, luck or not.
Yeah. How much do you practice doing the splits?
Practice doing the splits?
Like the way you did to stop Jason Robertson?
I've kind of a goofy body, so I don't really practice. I actually have to contain my body a bit because I'm pretty flexible, so I don't really do much stretching. I do more stuff to kind of get my muscles working to keep everything in place. Well, most people aren't just flexible, you know what I mean? So I guess goofy in that sense.
So you're born that way. You're not doing yoga and stuff to improve your flexibility.
I think it's more. Just strengthening the muscles and stuff to support my flexibility. I think I'm, a bit God-given in that way. Have the flexibility, but I think the important thing for me is to make sure everything's working to keep my body and keep my joints safe.
Kevin was referencing the splits because of that Robertson save. What did you recall about that moment in the game?
Yeah, I think that was a time they were kind of controlling play a bit. So I think just trying to do the best I can to keep our team in it, and it was just kind of a quick play that happened, and just kind of threw everything I had at him with the leg, and managed to get it.
When did you find out it would be Jake at the other end tonight?
I think I found out today after morning skate, so definitely a little bummed there, but hopefully there's plenty of opportunity in the future.
Is it cool though that he's sitting there, that you get to kind of put on a show for him a little bit?
It's pretty sweet. I think we've played each other and played with each other at about every level, so he's just kind of waiting on me to get up here and hopefully play against him in the NHL. So I'm looking forward to when that day comes.
Were you able to catch up with him last night? Have dinner or anything?
No, he had an agent dinner, so yeah, he bailed on me.
Joseph Woll, you heard him say goofy body and extraordinary flexibility, so we were onto something there. When we come back, we'll hear from head coach Sheldon Keefe. This is Leafs Game Night on TSN 1050, the iHeartRadio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
Christopher Mad Dog Russo is still here. Wait, did he actually go anywhere?
Now, I've been wrong on the Diamondbacks from day one. If they win, I will retire on the spot.
Lucky for us, you can still catch the Hall of Famer weekdays on Mad Dog Sports Radio.
I probably didn't realize that this would cause such an uproar.
With his unique brand of sports talk that you'll love, it's Mad Dog Unleashed with Christopher Mad Dog Russo. Weekdays at 3 p.m. Eastern on Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82 and the Sirius XM app. app.
In case you missed it on NHL Network Radio.
The general manager of the Philadelphia Flyers, Danny Briere.
Have the fans been patient? What's their buy-in been for the rebuild?
I think the one thing we've done is we're trying to be transparent with our fans and be honest. And I think our fans are too smart. The response seems to have been really good. I hope they're as excited as I am, and it feels that way so far.
NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
If you're a soccer fan, you know that this music means one thing. The Champions League is on Sirius XM FC.
Hat-trick for Erling Haaland. He scores!
The top teams from around Europe are battling for club soccer's holy grail.
Real Madrid do what they do best. What a start for Inter!
Hear all the top Champions League matches all tournament long on Sirius XM FC 157 and streaming on the Sirius XM app.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind Ristolainen, walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
The best hockey lives here.
Burns gets it back, stick handles to the backhand, moves in front, score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
Hi, this is Ray Hudson, and for all the biggest matches from club soccer's holy grail, the UEFA Champions League, tune in to Sirius XM FC 157.
Leafs game night. Jim Taddy and Frank Corrado with you. 4-1 the Leafs win in Dallas, and are 3-1 on the road trip that wraps up Saturday night in Nashville. Problem with the Leafs tonight was McCabe goes out with some sort of a lower body tweak seconds into the game, so they had to do this with 5 defensemen. Coach Keefe and how the Leafs coped in that situation.
Now on the Leafs Radio Network, Maple Leafs head coach Sheldon Keefe.
I thought it was all in the backs of what I thought was our best first period of the season. In a lot of ways, we score first, so we'd come out of it with a lead. But also just because of the way we were playing and the flow of the game, we were able to use everyone on forward and on defensive. 5E, you're going to use everyone. But I just thought we spent a lot of time on their half of the ice, and we didn't have to get a whole lot from RD in the first period. And then as it turned out, then we need our D too much in the second and third period. But I just thought we had enough gas in the tank because of the way we played in the first. And those guys grinded. At times I thought our forwards took care of them well. At times not so well in terms of managing the puck and making their life easier. But you knew here in this building that their team was going to push, and they did. And obviously we didn't break. Joseph Wall was terrific again for us. I gave our group confidence to just find a way to grind out a good road win.
What is Jake's status? Any concern he won't be able to play next game?
I would say there's concern there, yes. But we won't know the extent of it until we get more information, get him a picture.
Is he just cold?
Yeah.
The start that Willie's off to, we talked about him all year, but he really seems like there's no stopping him right now.
Yeah, he's playing great. He's got lots of confidence with the puck. He's attacking the middle of the ice and bringing the puck to good areas. So I think it's been a terrific start for him. I thought he had a terrific start last season, so he's just sort of continuing with that. But without a doubt, he seems to be really in a good place right now in terms of his rhythm offensively.
Have you liked how that's the most Bertuzzi
I thought it was his best game today. Yeah, I did. So I think it's been coming. I've been looking at his game really closely, and there were some things that he's been doing that haven't got a lot of attention and haven't really stood out, I guess more is what I'm saying. But looking really closely at his game, I looked at every single time he's touched the puck through the 6 games that he's played, and he's done some very subtle things of keeping plays alive and moving the puck to his line mates that hasn't necessarily been rewarded with points, but I think he's been coming. But I thought his skating today, moving his feet and being involved in the play, was probably the most consistent it's been throughout the game, and it's great to see him get rewarded with that great power play goal.
Is that maybe a function of he's maybe more comfortable with John and Willie?
I don't know if you could say that. I mean, obviously it's that's the way it's worked out, but I just think it's more so that he's just more time, and I think he's kind of fed up with how it's going. He's just working and grinding, and we spent time with him. It's just more comfortable in general, regardless of who he's playing with. So it's a good sign for us because he's an important player.
What more can you say about Joseph at this point? Is it becoming less and less surprising, just how he seems to be steady enough?
Yeah, no doubt. It's not surprising anymore. I've seen enough of it this season and last season and practices and everything that I just think that we're at a point where he's a quality NHL goaltender. He's a young guy. He's just going to continue to get better the more experience and the more lessons he learns along the way. But no, I don't think we're surprised by anything at this stage.
How Morgan started the season? Have you seen any carryover from how he ended the last year?
I just think he's skating really well. He's really moving his feet to get him, whether it's to break up a play or to advance the puck, to get involved in the play offensively. Just the way he's moving his feet and skating, that's when he's at his best. And he's gotten better and better throughout this trip.
That is Coach Sheldon Keefe after the 4-1 win, and he was singing the praises of Tyler Bertuzzi, so that's good stuff.
It is good stuff, Jimmy, and I think he made a good point there when he was asked the question, do you think it has anything to do with playing with John and Willie as opposed to playing with Austin and Mitch? And Sheldon Keefe said, I just think it's more him getting his bearings, and I would 100% agree with that. He gets his first opportunity on this team playing on the first line with Matthews and Marner, but it doesn't necessarily mean that his own game, his backyard, is ready to go and play at that level. Now that we're, 7 games into the season, he's probably picked up a few things along the way, and he feels a little more comfortable. He just happens to be playing with Tavares and Nylander at that given time. But, I think that the thing that's encouraging about that is as the season goes on here and he keeps getting better and better, hopefully, you find him maybe back on the first line looking good, playing with Matthews and Marner, and that line can, I think there's a really high ceiling for what that line can be if those 3 guys were to be playing together. But as we've been doing this long enough together with Sheldon Keefe as the head coach. There's a lot of tinkering that happens up front, and that's going to continue as the season goes on.
Yeah, just as a sort of a future look, would you see at any point, and I'm not talking this year, Nyes is that guy on the left side?
Well, he's got the potential to be for a number of reasons. He can skate with them, for sure. He can make plays with them. We've seen that. One of the kind of catchphrases Sheldon Keefe likes to use is can extend plays offensively or something along those lines. Like he can do that, so that would bode well for his ability to play with Matthews and Marner. And in the long term, you think about a guy who's cost-controlled and under contract here and not going to be leaving, like Tyler Bertuzzi's on a 1-year play with Matthews and Marner. And in the long term, you think about a guy who's cost-controlled and under contract here and not going to be leaving, like Tyler Bertuzzi's on a 1-year deal. So who knows where he ends up next year. Max Domi's on a 1-year deal. So, in the long run, that would be ideal if Matthew Nyes could settle in and find a home with both those guys. We'll see. I'm sure at some point he'll get an opportunity to get that ball and run with it. But, as long as your team is winning games and you're seeing progress as a 20-man unit on the ice, there's nothing wrong with keeping the lines the way they are right now. If you had to nitpick something about the way the lines are constructed, you'd probably like to see a little more out of the fourth line. I'm not talking about them really contributing offensively. It's just, carry a little bit of the play. Don't get hemmed in your own zone for long periods at a time. Don't get scored on. Don't take penalties. It's all pretty basic stuff, and it's not asking too much, but they do need to bring something to the table in order to contribute and make it a 4-line deep team.
Yeah, I agree with what you said there. How important is the Samsonov performance on Saturday?
I I mean, it's probably important for the guy as an individual to have a good start and get a good feeling going forward, knowing that you have one, get some confidence, and now you can build off it. In the grand scheme of things with the team, ideally, for sure, you have two goaltenders playing great. But let's be honest. If you have one goalie that you know is going to give you a chance every single night and he's playing great, I think players on the team, you're good with that. Like, I've been in that situation where we have one goalie who plays great, one guy who's not so good. The goalie who plays well, he's going to play more often than not. And, you hope you find ways to win games and stay competitive when the other guy's in and maybe he doesn't have his game. But you need one guy playing well, and he's going to get the rock. And for right now, that's Joseph Woll. He's been outstanding. And if you're playing meaningful games, that's the guy who's starting. But we're at the point in the season where you can give Samsonov a little bit of time to catch his bearings and find his game because he doesn't have it right now.
Frankie C., take the rest of the night off. I insist.
Jimmy, I was already going to. Thank you very much. Have a great night. I think we finished very strong this evening.
We did, yes. We got over the speed bump. We had the bad intermission with the long change, and everything's good now. Thank you. Leafs win 4-1 in Dallas. We'll continue on with the out-of-town scoreboard. This is Leafs Game Night on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network.
You've been listening to NHL Play-by-Play on SiriusXM. Head over to SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, for the best hockey talk.
It's complete catastrophe. It's hockey in Canada. That's one of the things. Anything that is not going 100% the way you'd like it to go is certainly a catastrophe. They do not have their number 2 and 3 centers, and no one seems to know exactly when they will, and that's where they stand right now.
The number 2 and 3 center, that's the talk. And how long can you survive without it, and without them, I should say? And when does the panic actually set in if these two guys are still out of the lineup?
Oh boy, that's a good question, Andrew. I guess it all depends on the marketplace. When the external pressures start to create internal pressures with the organization, I guess that's when it moves from the back burner to the front burner to don't touch the burner. And I don't know what that is. It isn't now, I'll put it that way. But I think it probably is going to have to do with the record, in that this team has had such bad starts the last 2 years. That's what's put them in a